Allah, God in the Holy Quran says, call on me.
That's right.
And I will answer you.
Yes.
He's waiting to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
I have a responsibility that requires me to move out of my comfort zone. We all have a comfort zone. See, I'm of an age where if I had the mentality of this world, I would be thinking about retirement. I'm old enough to retire. When I go to the movie theaters, I actually can get a senior ticket. It's embarrassing to me. But then, you can save that little money. But I have to have a different outlook than the outlook that is common in this world because I am a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so when a man reaches the age of 65, that's not old. He actually told us that you have to live 60 or 70 years before you learn how to live. So wouldn't that be a cruel joke on everybody if just at the time that you figure out how to live, you die? But he gave us a technology called How to Eat to Live. And we need that technology in order to fulfill our life's mission or goal. You've heard the scripture. It says that the race is not to the swift nor the strong, but to the one who endures to the end. Did you ever wonder to the end of what? See, sometimes we say, well, to the end of the world. Well, the world is never going to end. When is this planet going to disappear? When is the solar system going to blow up? The Milky Way galaxy go away? That ain't going to never happen. Because the gods who put it here, if something went wrong in the Milky Way, they fix it. If something goes wrong in the earth that would tend to destroy the earth, then the gods would intervene. And they would fix it. So that can't mean endure to the end of the earth or the end of the world. It's more personal than that. You are born into the world. I'm born into the world with a mission. There's a purpose. There's an aim. There's a goal for your life. You are here to accomplish something, not just to suck air, drink water, eat food, occupy space. You are here on a divine mission that is yours and yours alone. We love to put on the pretense of ignorance about our own mission. Or we love to borrow someone else's mission, to latch on to what someone else is doing as though we have no work of our own. So oftentimes we go all the way through what is called life neglecting our duty, neglecting our work. Instead of minding our own business, we're minding somebody else's business. As though we have no business. Well, this is understandable for slaves, because what their business was taken from them. And it was taken from them so long ago that they forgot that they actually had something. And it's taken us a while to wake up to the fact that we all have something to do. We all have our own business. We all have our own mission that we must perform. And so that's the answer to the question. You must endure until you have completed your mission. Yeah, we can start out in life fast and furious, strong and mighty. All right, that's a good start. But you will not be ready to die until and unless you have completed your assignment, your mission, your duty, your work. And depending on what that mission is that you as an individual have, you may be required to live 100 years. It may take 200 years. It depends on what your mission is. Some may have a little thing to do. It doesn't take that long. So it doesn't matter if you only live 50 years. You get that done and then you're ready to check out. And you're satisfied and ready to go. Because you have accomplished the purpose for which you were born in the first place. But sometimes people are given a mission that is not completed in a short time. When a people have been chosen by God, such as yourself, to perform a work, a mission that has never been given to any people since the earth has stood, then you have to imagine that that's going to take quite a while. If you are to preside over the fall and the breakup of an old world and preside over the building of a new world, how long do you think it takes to build the world? It's not like baking a cake now. This is not like a baseball game. This is not something that takes place over a quick season or two. See, I was so naive when I joined the nation in 1968. I actually thought we would be in the hereafter by 1970. Here we are, 2013. We're still working. Probably if somebody had told me that in 2013, brother, you still going to be working hard, I probably would have quit right then and there. I'm just telling you the truth. Because I was a real Negro, which means I was real lazy. For me, getting up early in the morning was 10 o'clock. Now, I'd be rubbing my eyes. Couldn't get into motion till about 12 o'clock. So, when I heard about how to eat to live, you see, that was a very great moment for me because it showed me a lot of things. And that's what I want to talk about. We don't have a lot of time today. But maybe we could make a good start into one of the most important subjects that there is for us to consider, which is how to eat to live. It's a science.
That's right.
It's the science of life. It's the science of how you control your life and direct your own life.
Come on.
So that you are not the victim, but you are actually the conqueror of life itself. That life is not just a force and a power that possesses you, but no, you possess and direct the power and the force of life itself, especially of your own life. Now, how to eat to live is actually very simple in concept. The concept is real simple. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said fasting with the right food is the cure for all of our ills.
Yes, sir.
So the essence of how to eat to live are those two things, fasting with the right food. Now, fasting means one meal a day. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said one time that if you are not eating one meal a day or one meal every other day, you are not my follower.
Come on.
So in other words, many of us today, we don't actually eat one meal a day. Come on. But yet we claim to be followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he said you are not. He would not recognize you. So then we need to get the practice of how to eat to live, not just the theory. We should not look at how to eat to live like many people look at many things in this hypocritical world. See, we have a lot of hypocritical teachings and ways of life where, say, a politician, he makes a whole lot of promises, a whole lot of big statements to get people to vote for him, but then there's no follow through. He doesn't actually do what he says that he promised he would do. See, that's a hypocritical teaching.
That's right.
You have businesses like that, where they will spend millions of dollars to advertise a product that it does all of these wonderful things, but then when you actually get the product home, having paid your good money, it does not perform as advertised. And this is so common that it has even crept into religion. So then we have religious doctrines, spiritual teachings, where you have preachers on television, in big cathedrals, making big public speeches and sermons that sound oh so wonderful, and then the news comes out about their private life.
Come on now.
And so it reminds you of that song, that this world is a Barnum and Bailey world. It's as phony as it can be. This becomes so common and becomes so pervasive in the society that many of us have been raised up in phoniness. You were raised up in a phony household where people pretended to love you and they didn't. People pretended to be your friend and they weren't. You went to schools where teachers pretended to teach and they weren't teaching you anything.
Come on.
You might even have a job where you pretend to work and you don't. Yeah, you can pretend to have hair and you don't. It's a pretend world. And sometimes we haven't encountered anything in our whole life that is genuine, that is authentic, that is the real deal. And so sometimes when a person comes up in a world like that, in families like that, in societies like that, in churches and schools and jobs and communities like that, where everything is fake, everything is phony, everything is a put on, everything is a sham, everybody's pretending, everybody's an actor or an actress, pretending to be what they are not. Then a person coming up in an environment like that might get the idea that that applies to how to eat to live too.
Come on.
See, I noticed that. I haven't found a Muslim yet, I don't care if they weigh 300 pounds, where you ask them about how to eat to live, they will tell you they know all about that. They do. And I don't doubt that they know all about it. But when you look at their appearance, when you look at the appearance of the believers, even some of you here today, matter of fact, let me be honest, all of you here today, I know some Muslims who found out that when you follow how to eat to live, your face starts to shine. So since they didn't want to follow how to eat to live, they got Vaseline and made their face shine. But let me tell you something, it ain't the same shine. There's a difference in that shine. Now again, I'm not here beating up on anybody.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm saying is, that we will not fulfill our mission if we don't get the practice along with the theory. That's what I'm trying to say. That we are not building, or we shouldn't think that we're building a fake world, a fake hereafter, a fake heaven on earth. That's not really what it's supposed to be. It has to be the real thing. It has to be authentic. It has to be what God said it was going to be. It has to fulfill everything that the prophets predicted. It has to be lined up with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan are teaching us.
Yes, sir.
And since we are the people who have to carry it into practice, then guess what? We have to be the real thing. I heard Brother Tony, he said, Doctor running a program of weight loss and he's overweight. Okay, well, what about Muslims running a program of salvation and you need saving? How about that? See, there's a problem there, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
The doctor who's fat trying to teach other people how not to be fat, he needs to actually go somewhere and get with himself and work on himself, and then when he has completed his self-improvement, then he can step out in the public and say, now I can show you how you ought to go. In other words, you have to be the example of what you preach. I had a patient recently who's physically blind. He came with a companion. And so we went through everything. He's listening carefully to what I'm saying. Then he asked his companion, what does he look like? And she said, he looks like what he's saying. And he shook his head. Okay, all right. You see, so that's how we want to be. That it shouldn't be a whole lot of words that are necessary to convince somebody that we're right.
Right.
See, it should be one glance. Oh, I see what you're talking about, because you are the living example of what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
You don't even have to explain too much, because I can just see it in you. If I just follow your example, I know I'm going to be right, because I can see it in you.
That's right.
But if you are not a living example of what you're preaching, then you're going to be doing some marathon preaching. Because you're going to need about 10 million words to convince somebody, and even then they still won't be convinced. What they'll be convinced of is this is all about talk. Now, it's not all about talk. It's about work. It's about deeds.
Yes, sir.
And the ones who are here to do the work, to accomplish the deeds are you and I.
Yes, sir.
So we have to be in shape enough to actually do our work.
Yes, sir. Right.
And right now we're not. So that's why the work doesn't get done. Because the people who are to do the work are not in good enough shape to do that kind of work.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever encountered a homeless man or woman out on the street? Have you ever been moved by sympathy for their plight? So that you say, well, you know, I got an extra dollar, or I got a little something here. And you walk up to the homeless person and they don't even see you. They don't even see you. And you have to nudge them or make a noise or something. And a lot of times you never do actually get their attention. They might have a reflex where their hand will go out and take the money. They don't even look at you. Have you noticed that? You're trying to make eye contact to let this person know that you are really sincere in your concern for their plight. They won't even look at you. You can stand right in front of them sometimes. They don't even see you. It's like they look right through you. And then sometimes you're trying to have a conversation with this homeless person. They're having another conversation with something going on in their head. Come on. The reason they don't see you is because they're looking at a picture in their head. So they don't even notice what the temperature is outside. It could be 90 degrees outside, but the picture in their head says it's wintertime, and they got 5 coats on, 6 hats. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, sir.
See, that's insanity. Where a person is not in touch with reality. They are in touch with a fantasy that's taking place inside their head. And what you have to do if you want to help that person, really help them, is you got to figure out, how can I pull you outside of your head into the real world so you can look around and see what your real situation is. Otherwise, you might as well talk to a brick. Have you ever noticed that? This man does not even see his own condition. You're trying to tell him that he's got all kinds of problems and he don't even know what you're talking about. He'll say, what problems? I'm doing good.
Come on.
He's even happy. And you're looking at the condition. How could a man be happy under those conditions? Well, insanity will make you happy. There's the glee of insanity. Haven't you ever seen that kind of a wicked twinkle in a person's eye? And they're happy as they can be because they're crazy as a jaybird. That's common. There are some people who even interpret their suffering and their pain as some kind of a blessing. They're glad that they're in pain. They're glad that they're in poverty because they're looking at this in some kind of a skewed way. Somehow this is a blessing. That I'm being blessed by God with poverty. Somehow it's pleasing to God that I'm suffering day and night. Sometimes this even gets confused as religion. That you're not actually in a religion unless you're suffering. Of course, this was brought about deliberately by giving us the example of Jesus on the cross. Where here's a man being tortured and somehow this is glorified. But Jesus, he didn't make no mistake about it. He asked his Father, can this pass from me?
Come on. Come on.
See, we're not talking about necessary sacrifice. Sacrifice is necessary. But what's the operative word there? Necessary. Yeah, any believer will lay down their life for their faith if it's necessary. If there ain't no way out. If it comes down to that. But if it's not necessary, Father, let this cup pass from me. Now, if Jesus' disciples had been listening, then what they should have done, instead of standing around at the foot of the cross, moaning and groaning and crying and weeping, they should have went and got a ladder.
Yes, sir.
If they had done that, if they had found a ladder, then they could have climbed up on the ladder and they could have taken Jesus down off the cross.
Come on.
Then we would not be worshiping crosses, we'd be worshiping ladders. You see people walking around with ladders hanging from their neck. The old rugged ladder where we rescued our Lord. Because he was only 33 years old, and if he had lived, then what would the world have been like had he lived?
That's right. This place.
We know what the world is after he died, but what if he had lived? So suppose somebody had gone into a self-defense mode and said, we're going to take our man back. And we're going to save him. Because he has more to contribute to the world. He has more to teach the world than what would have happened in the Roman Empire.
That's right. Good place. Good place.
If he had lived and taught effectively and completed his mission, then by the time that Muhammad shows up 600 years later, then the world would have been ready for Muhammad. And what would the world look like? Would there have been a dark age? Would there have been slavery and colonialism and the enslavement of humanity?
Come on.
Would there be a system of economic slavery and usury and exploitation? Or would the world have been different? See, we could even ask the same question in a more contemporary time frame.
Yes, sir.
See, the murderers of John F. Kennedy are celebrating the murder of Kennedy just like they celebrate the murder of Jesus.
Right.
You could ask the question, what would the country be like if John F. Kennedy had lived? If he had realized his dream, which was to restore the constitutional economy of the United States and took the money power from the hands of the Rothschilds and the international bankers and established a free constitutional money system that was free of debt.
Come on.
If he had been allowed to live and establish his Alliance for Progress,
Come on.
which involved the development of Central and South America and Africa and Asia, if he had lived and stopped the war in Vietnam. By the same token, we can ask the question about Dr. King, who was also assassinated and his death celebrated as a holiday. If he had been successful, if he had lived, if his followers had seen to his security, so that he would never have wandered out alone on a balcony.
Come on now. Come on.
Thinking deep thoughts like he's supposed to.
Come on.
That's what a philosopher does. He thinks deep thought, but then he got to have some soldiers around him to say, no, you can't go that way. A man who overthrew segregation in the South through a teaching of peace and nonviolence, now put his focus on economics and poverty and stopping a war. Well, if he had been successful on this side, he would have been successful on that side.
That's right.
And he teamed up with Kennedy. You see, this is why the scripture says that Babylon could have been saved.
That's right.
But she was not. Because the people, just like they allowed the enemies to kill Jesus, they allowed the enemy to kill their president. They allowed the enemy to kill King. They allowed the enemy to kill Malcolm.
Come on.
And countless others.
Come on.
Because the people are like confused sheep. And they love to pray for those who destroy their leaders.
Come on.
And they never think proactively about how the world should be. They're trying to cope with the way the world is. And therefore they accommodate themselves to the evil of the world instead of opposing the evil of the world. They try to find a little safe pocket where they can curl up in this little safe pocket. And they don't have to confront what is really going on. Well, let me just put a pin there, because that's a whole teaching in and of itself. That would have to do with, when do the righteous, you could say, go on the offense instead of playing defense? Anybody ever played sports knows you don't win no game on defense. You don't win no boxing match just because you have good defensive skills. Yeah, that's good. You need that. But if you're actually going to go to victory, you got to take the victory. No one's going to give it. You have to take it. But in order to take it, who must you be? What must you be? What must you have? What must you do in order to take the victory? Come on, man. You have to be a special kind of a person. Well, we can look at that 4 different ways. Or we can approach it 4 different ways. The first and most important is you must have knowledge of a certain type. Yes, sir. If you are going to take over, and that's what our destiny is. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the ending. Yes, see, the original people of the earth have been taken over. But now it's time for us to reverse that and take it back over. Yes, sir. And conquer those who conquered us. Yes, sir. There's no fun being a conquered people. That's right. But what must you know in order to take it back? You have to have something that is called supreme wisdom. Come on. So we have been given that, haven't we? Yes, haven't we? Yes, now, whether we studied it or not, that's another question. But certainly, Master Farrakhan Muhammad delivered it, didn't he? Yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad delivered it, didn't he? Yes, Minister Farrakhan is delivering it, isn't he? Right. So the question isn't whether there has been a delivery of supreme wisdom to a people who need it. The real question is, has it been received? Has it been accepted or rejected? Now there are people who are honest enough to say with their mouth, I reject it. And then there are people dishonest enough with their mouth who say, I accept it, but their actions tell you that they're lying because they don't actually put it into practice. Are you following what I'm saying? Yes, but that's the first track. That's the first approach. You must have supreme wisdom, because supreme means that it is over all other wisdom. And there is no other wisdom on the planet greater than that, otherwise it wouldn't be supreme. That's right. Does that make sense? That's right. And if you are to rule over all, then that which you are given must be supreme. Then the second thing you have, we've already gone into, which is the technology of how to eat to live. Because in one sense, one strategy that you will employ is you will simply outlive your enemies. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, get your mouth out of the white man's kitchen. Because the white man's kitchen is full of poison. He's poisoning himself. He's killing himself. So when you look at his life expectancy, he only expects to live 60, 70, 80 years. If one of them lives 90 years, they celebrate. Well, if we are in their kitchen eating what they eat, then guess what our life expectancy is? Just the same as theirs. And we die from the same diseases that are killing them. But we can understand why they do that, because their mission has been completed and then some. They have endured to the end of the time that was given to them. Their time was up in 1914, 99 years ago.
Yes, sir.
So that 99 years past due. But the only reason why that 99 years past due is because those who are to succeed them have not become ready. They have delayed their own progress. And they have delayed the elimination of problems that have existed far too long. They should have been eliminated by now. But they worship their patience and their long suffering. They think it's a virtue to suffer for 20 years when in fact they only needed to suffer 2 years. But they're happy that they suffered 10 times longer than they needed to. That's defined as holiness and righteousness. The third track that is needed was just recently introduced to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that is Dianetics, the science of the mind. Because what is it that prevents you from properly learning the supreme wisdom and the practice of how to eat to live? It is your own mind that is called a reactive mind. That makes you a liar. Where you say with your mouth that you accept supreme wisdom and you accept how to eat to live, but you don't practice it. You don't learn it. You don't apply it. You don't get benefit for yourself while you live.
Go ahead.
You adopt the phony way of this world where you say out of your mouth what is not actually the reality. And therefore you become a poor example of what you preach.
Go ahead.
Where you preach what is called supreme wisdom, but yet you are not an example of supreme wisdom. You preach how to eat to live, but yet you are not an example of how to eat to live, so nobody accepts you as anything but a hypocritical liar. And they wonder, why don't you stop talking all that stuff? Talk all that stuff and do nothing. Well, what makes you that? Are you really a hypocrite? Are you really so insincere? Are you really a phony? Well, we know in your heart and in your nature, no, you're none of those terrible things. We know that. But there is something that is interfering with your practice. There is something interfering with your learning and your assimilation of wisdom that makes you look hypocritical, that makes you look less than you should be, that reduces you into a condition that you are like that homeless man, where somebody's trying to communicate with you and you're looking through because you got some fantasy in your head that you're looking at instead of reality. You crawled up in your head like a hermit crawled up in a cave, practicing holiness in your head because you're afraid to confront the reality of the real world and the real people that are in the world. Now let me stay curled up in my safe little cave in the dark with my dreams and my fantasies that nobody can see but you. Yeah, so do you need Dianetics? Do you need auditing? You better believe it. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, easy to lead in the wrong direction. Hard to lead in the right direction. And even when you are led in the right direction, you go, but you go fighting and kicking and screaming because you don't want to let go of your fantasies. And then there's something deeper in the subconscious mind. What are you really afraid of?
Good question.
You're really afraid that you will find out that you're nothing. So that's why you have to try so hard to pretend to be something, because you're afraid that if you don't pretend to be something, then everybody will find out that you're nothing. So I better keep up the pretense, because I'm not sure that behind this facade, I'm not sure that there's anything there. I'm scared to be myself, because myself might turn out to be nothing. So I better pick out somebody that I think is something, and I'll pretend to be them. Well, that's actually not a rational fear. You don't have to try to be something. You automatically are something, but you're not anything that can be named according to the names of this world. The Alim Elijah Muhammad wrote an article, I believe in 1969. He said the black man should be known by the names of God. And these are referring, of course, to the attributes, the 99 attributes of Allah, Allah being the 100. These attributes are not referring to anything that you find in creation. In other words, these are not names of mountains and trees and animals and fish and things that you can see in the natural world or in the natural universe. These are not names like wood and water and earth and star and planet and this and that thing. You are not to be named after a thing. And this is part of where the confusion is. You are paying attention to things as though that's all there are, and that somehow you are a thing, when in fact you're not a thing at all. You are the creator of things. You see the sun, but you do not see the creator of the sun. You see the moon, which is a thing, but you do not see the creator of the moon. You see the earth, which is a thing, and the things that are in the earth, they are all things, but that which created them is not a thing. Now, because the creator is not a thing, you can't automatically flip to the opposite and say, well, since the creator is not a thing, then he must be no thing. No. See, that's where the fear comes in, because you make that flip. You want to identify with things. So a man has a beautiful car sitting on the curb. That's me. He's identifying with a thing. Sometimes with other people. A man has a beautiful woman. That's me. That's mine. He wants you to think well of him because of what he has. The ring he has on his finger. The bank account figure. The size of the house. Or the boat. Or whatever the possessions are. He's identifying with things. the degree that he got from the university. Things. But that's not the man. That's not the woman. There was something behind the thing that is not a thing. Well, what is it then? Well, we call that Allah. And the original people are to be known by the names of Allah, because you are not a thing. You are that abstract attribute of God that can only be manifested by a human being. The attributes are not attributes of your physical body. The attributes of Allah are not colors or frequencies or sizes or temperatures. The attributes of Allah are these abstract qualities that can only be appreciated or perceived with a developed mind. It takes another God to appreciate the attributes of another God. And so, there are barriers to our perception. There are barriers that are preventing us from embracing and accepting that which was given to us. And whether we intend to do it or not, it makes us hypocritical concerning that which was given to us, and it makes us not able to bear fruit. It stands to reason that if a person is given a certain type of knowledge, then they have a certain level of productivity that is expected that corresponds with that level of knowledge. So you can't say that you have supreme wisdom and then your productivity is zero. And other people who never claim supreme wisdom, they outproduce you. Well, something's wrong. If Islam is mathematics, then it got to add up. Well, then what is it that is wrong in that equation? It is you, and it is me. It is the reactive mind that is preventing us from acting on that which we have been given. Then there's a fourth thing that must be learned. You have to learn management. You have to learn administration. You have to learn the science of making things go right. If you have supreme wisdom, if you are full of life due to how to eat to live, if your reactive mind is cleared up, then you are going to become a creator. You are going to formulate new ideas, new plans, new programs. You are going to spin out of your creative imagination a brand new world. But how lamentable it would be if you could not manage that which you created. See, Allah is not only the creator of the heavens and the earth. He manages it. He runs it. And he runs it in a way that is successful, and he runs it in a way that nobody can take it from him. So look at the example of the black man in America. In music, for example. The most creative human beings that ever lived. Can't nobody dance like you, sing like you, act like you. Can't do nothing. But who ends up rich off of your creativity? It's not you, because you don't know how to manage your own creativity. And you can't hold on to it. As soon as you create it, somebody's right there to take it. Just like they used to take the bales of cotton that you picked on the plantation. You picked it, but you couldn't keep it, and you couldn't benefit from it. So you need management. Got all these ideas about what you want to do. Well, you have to know how to do it. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to manage the idea and to cultivate the idea and develop it until it reaches its full potential, which is not done overnight. So those four things are absolutely necessary. So,
see, when God came, he didn't come like the prophets come. See, when the prophets come, they're mild and meek. They're preaching to worldly people. I think y'all should behave. Why don't y'all straighten up? God told me, and they usually end up getting crucified, lynched, because after a while the wicked get tired of hearing all that preaching.
right.
Yeah, they want to gamble and engage in all kinds of licentiousness and evil. Here's this cat over here preaching about what God said. So then they usually just gather him up and lynch him. Put a stop to that kind of preaching. But now when he comes, see, when God himself comes, he ain't coming like that.
That's right.
See how wise he is? He launched the mother of planes before he came.
Right. That's right.
The day that he launched the mother of planes, and some say, well, what's the mother of planes? Oh, it's a man-made planet.
Right.
It's a weapon of destruction to destroy the current world.
Yes, sir.
God ain't fooling. He ain't come to negotiate.
Right.
Could you imagine God sitting down at the negotiating table with Bush?
Yes, sir.
What's there to negotiate? Now he come to destroy them.
Right.
And he shows the weapon that he devised that has the ability to destroy them. The mother of planes a half mile by a half mile. Got 1,500 little baby planes that they call flying saucers. They was talking about it last night on Larry King. Wondering whether they from some planet. They not from some, yeah, they from a planet. They from this planet. There's some aliens on there, little black men. That if you saw one of them, you would like to disrespect. But actually they are the agents of your destruction. And at a moment's notice, they go into action and they could wrap up America just like that. Don't think it's going to be no big fight. But we got Master Farrakhan Muhammad and 7 of the major scientists on our side, plus the mother plane and the baby plane. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said one time that America's like a little mouse in between 7 hungry cats. Ain't a meal for even one cat.
Go ahead.
So ain't no problem taking America down. As you can see, she can't even handle the little business over there in Iraq. Them little misguided Muslims over in Iraq and Afghanistan. Half of them can't read and write. She can't handle them. Now what about the Lord of the world?
Yes, sir.
So when he launched the mother of planes, then the stock market fell. They call that Black Monday. See, because when God goes up, the devil got to go down. He puts on his money, in God we trust. He don't mean the God of righteousness. He means money is his God. So when the real God launches himself up, then that false God got to take a tumble. Next slide. When he came, America was the breadbasket of the world. Her great wealth was based on her ability to produce agricultural products.
Right.
And she has used food as a weapon.
That's right.
But when he came, Master Farad Muhammad, he brought drought to America. Just like the one you're having now.
Yes, sir.
Where America is drying up,
That's right.
burning up. But in the 30s, they called it the Dust Bowl.
Right. Yes, sir.
Where it got so dry that the topsoil was like dust.
That's right.
And then Allah caused a strong wind to blow from the west unto the east and blew all of America's topsoil away from her agricultural area and put all the topsoil in the Atlantic Ocean.
Right. Come on.
Destroying her ability to feed you.
Yes, sir.
You ain't hear what I said.
Yes, sir.
Bringing famine into the land. America does not have the ability since that time to produce the right food. Her chemical magicians said we can use chemicals to trick the plants
Right.
into growing, even though a plant is not supposed to grow according to chemicals. A plant is supposed to have its root in topsoil
Right.
that is full of minerals and other nutrients, so then the plant can produce the food that it was created to produce to nourish the lives of human beings. But the devil, who is the master of technology, he figured out some chemicals that will trick the plants into growing and producing what looks like corn, what looks like wheat, that looks like apples, that looks like vegetables, but in fact it's something tricked up, grafted kind of food that does not have in it the life-sustaining qualities of real food.
Yes, sir.
So that's why when you look in America today, you see the physical degeneration of the people.
Right.
Not just of the black people, but the white people themselves. You see the physical degeneration of their bodies. Obesity, diabetes, hypertension, stroke, heart disease, arthritis, mental disorder, depression, all brought about because they are eating a devitalized food that does not have the ability to sustain human life. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, get your mouth out of the white man's kitchen. Because the white man's kitchen has been blasted by Allah.
Yes.
Do you think that Allah wants the devil to get credit for feeding you? You God's people, but the devil feeds you.
Right.
No, he destroyed his ability to feed you. And you are destroying your ability to participate in the kingdom of God or raising the kingdom of God, because eating the devil's food has you in such a condition that you're too tired to do this work. See, that's why, Minister Tony, you can't hardly get the cooperation that you need. The people's too tired. They just like lessons. They talk about Master Farad Muhammad's uncle and aunt.
That's right.
They got pain in all their joints. They come into the mosque. And all they can do is just fall down in a heap in a chair. And you preaching the fire down from heaven, trying to motivate them to do this work. They too tired. All they want to do is go home and eat first, then sleep, with the television on. So you can't hardly get no participation. See, eating the wrong food makes you non-productive. Can't produce nothing. You're too tired to produce something. You're so tired you can't keep your eyes open. You can't keep your mind focused on one thing long enough to actually accomplish it. That's because Allah killed the white man's agriculture. And you haven't built the black man's agriculture yet. So you're just starving to death. And you're going to keep starving until you die, or else build a ministry of agriculture. If the people are still sick and disabled and physically and mentally degenerated, it's only because we didn't build the Ministry of Health and Human Services. If the people are still eating in Wendy's and McDonald's, and they're still sick from eating the bad food, and they're not in the proper physical and mental condition, it's only because we refused to build the Ministry of Agriculture. We thought we could talk about a cow and not actually get a cow and milk the cow and take care of the cow so the cow could take care of us. You got Brother Carl here who's been trying to deliver the milk. And some of you, you believe the devil so strong that even though Allah tells you in the Holy Quran, surely there's a lesson for you in the cattle. We give you to drink of what is in their bellies, from betwixt the feces and the blood, pure milk, agreeable to the drinkers. Even though you got the commendation of Allah for raw milk, you would rather drink Kool-Aid. You would rather drink Diet Pepsi. We were doing a milk communion down in Atlanta. And a little sister, about 13, 14 years old, she had a little cup of milk and she was literally trembling because she was so afraid to try the raw milk. So I walked up to her and she was saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I said, sister, Allah mentions this in the Quran. Don't you trust in Allah enough that He knows what food that you should eat? I said, if that was some purple-colored Kool-Aid, would you be saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar? You would drink it right now without a second thought. But the devil has engineered your mind. Ever since the days of Adam and Eve, created in you in opposition to right food. So even when someone comes up and shows you the right way and makes it easy for you to actually get what God wants you to have, you got an internal resistance. You got reasons why, and you don't even know the reasons why, but you just ain't doing it. Right. And you stay sick. The messenger told us the navy bean and whole wheat and pure milk will sustain our lives indefinitely. But I'm here to tell you, you can't get the pure whole wheat. So many of you, when I check you, you can't actually tolerate the wheat the way it is now. If you was raising your own, it would be a different story. The navy beans that you're getting right now, they're not right. They're not the right thing. The minister got about 110 acres of navy beans that he's growing on his farm up in Michigan. So he's working hard to try to produce a crop of navy beans for the entire nation, so we'll be eating our own beans. That might be the right beans that Allah had in mind for us to eat, not these navy beans coming from the devil. So all I'm saying right now is the easiest thing that you can get that is in the direction of right food is that pure milk. Yes, sir. And you're blessed because you live in the state of California that makes it legal to sell raw milk. In most of the other 50 states, it's actually against the law. They put people in jail for selling pure milk. I got to import the milk that we drink. I got to get it from Pennsylvania, bring it across state lines, sign legal documents in order to get that milk. Right. But a day does not pass that I don't drink at least 32 ounces to 40 to 64 ounces of that pure milk. When my wife and I travel, we pack the milk in the luggage. Because when we go to a mosque or a city, now think about this. Chances are the believers don't have no right food to give us. We sit down at the dinner table and we eat what the sisters prepare or the brothers prepare. And they ask us, they say, well, how did you enjoy the food, brother minister? And I don't tell no lie. I say, it was wonderful, sister. And by that I mean it was the best that you know how to do.
That's right. That's right.
And your heart was in it.
That's right.
And we appreciate that hospitality, that kindness. Because you didn't have to do nothing. You could have sent us down the street, you know, to the greasy spoon. But you went in and you did the best you could. But I look at my wife and she looks at me, because we know we got a gallon of pure milk back at the hotel. That even if the sisters didn't do too good, if the brothers didn't do too good, we got that pure milk waiting for us back at the hotel room so we can drink that down and we'll be all right. Because the kind of work that I do, Minister Tony, I can't do what I do on bad food. That's right. Some of you say, well, it's amazing what you do. Well, I couldn't do it if I was eating fast food. I couldn't do it even if I was eating the food from these so-called high-class restaurants. That ain't nothing but another form of fast food.
Right.
I'm getting to the point, all I want to eat is milk. You can live on that. So a few weekends ago, I told my wife, she asked me, what do you want to eat? I said, don't cook nothing. All I'm going to have is milk. I was going to drink the milk. Some of you got chronic illnesses, and nothing seems to work. Well, what you need to do is you need to get on a milk fast, the milk cure, not fast, cure, where you just put yourself to bed and just sip on the milk all day long until you had maybe 5 to 10 quarts of milk per day. I'm not talking about pasteurized milk, that'll kill you. I'm not talking about homogenized milk. It got to say more than just organic milk. It's got to be raw, right from the cow. Was down in Houston in June. Minister Robert met me at the airport because I had done a milk communion in Houston 3 months earlier. He met me at the airport and said, Brother Alim, we got that cow. I said, what you talking about, brother? He said, we bought a cow. I said, get out of here, man. He said, no, we got a cow. I said, okay, brother, minister. I said, if you got a cow, any man that got a cow knows the name of the cow. So what's your cow's name if you got a cow? He didn't know the name. So he got on the phone, called the brother who's taking care of the cow, got off the phone. The cow's name is Tansy. I said, okay, Minister Robert, before we leave Houston, we want to go out to the farm and meet Tansy the cow. I want to check this cow out, because you can't just have any old cow. So we went out there and met Tansy. You can go on the website, atonementcommission.com. You can see Tansy the cow. And so you might say, well, what kind of name is Tansy for a Muslim cow? You say, well, how do you know she's a Muslim cow? Because I went out there and I talked to her. I mean, we had a nice little conversation. Such a nice little cow. She got to liking me so well, she licked me on my face. Made my wife jealous. She thought something was happening. So when we got a little comfortable with one another, I said, now, Tansy. I said, now, it really don't matter. I said, but I really want to know whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. So she looked me right in my eye and said, And she couldn't get the last part out, but I know what she was trying to say. So the students at the university now, they're drinking that milk. And so the behavior problems are going down. The discipline problems are going down. The learning is going up. The grades are going up. Because see, you think you have bad children. They're not bad. They're just eating the wrong food. You ain't feeding them right. It's your fault. Then they get in trouble with the law. Because nutrition has everything to do with behavior. And bad food produces bad behavior. So now the little students at the university down in Houston, they have a naming contest going on. So they're going to come up with a holy name for Tansy the cow so she can get rid of her dead world name. Take on a holy name. Now check this out. See, this is, and I'm closing on this. I know it's late. See, now if you take care of a cow, the cow will take care of you. See, I know where I'm at. Southern California. This is Los Angeles, the home of the sophisticates. You're so sophisticated, talking about cows and agriculture, that's like a foreign language.
Come on, talk on it.
That's why you have such a hard time teaching these people, brother.
Talk on it.
Because the scripture is full of parables, and all the parables are agricultural in nature.
That's right.
So you're dealing with a bunch of city slicker people. They don't know nothing about the farm. So you're teaching these spiritual principles based on agriculture. They don't know what you're talking about. But when you accept the responsibility to feed yourself, then you got to do what Minister Robert did. You got to go buy a cow. Now the cow will take care of you if you take care of the cow. See, this is where you find out what kind of person you are. See, a person who is irresponsible can't handle a cow. Because that cow got to be milked twice a day. If you milk the cow and take care of the cow, all the cow requires in return is some grass and some water and a little salt, mineral, to lick on every once in a while. And that little cow will produce 10 gallons or more of milk every day. Now they sell the milk down there in Houston for $8 a gallon. So 10 gallons a day, that's $80 a day that cow produces. They paid about $700 for her. So she paid for herself in about 8 or 9 days. After that, all you got to do is see to it that she got grass, and Allah put grass everywhere. Don't even have to plant it. You don't have to take care of the grass. The grass just grows by itself. And they're getting $80 a day, which is $560 a week, which is $2,240 a month. See, you crying that you ain't got enough money in the treasury. The reason you don't have any money in the treasury is because you don't have a cow. That caused a problem in the moms. Because 10 gallons of milk a day is not enough milk for all the believers. So they started looking hard at one another because one was getting the milk and the other one couldn't get none. So Minister Robert, being a wise minister, he went and bought 3 more cows. He did a mathematical calculation. In order for everybody to be happy and satisfied, we need 4 cows. Found 40 acres of land to put the cows on. Now everybody gets the milk that they need. And the mosque is raking in $8,000 a month. Just because a cow likes to eat grass. See how responsibility leads to economic opportunity.
Right.
Then the thing about these cows, you got 4 now. Next year you'll have 8 because they like to reproduce. So now instead of 8,000 a month, even if you didn't do anything else, now it's 16,000 a month. Wait another year, now it's 32,000 a month. All you got to do is create the market for your product. Then you get into making the butter and the cheese and the ghee and the buttermilk and the sour cream and all of the other dairy products that are essential to a healthy diet for human beings, making you more and more into the people of God in your right state. I know the devil told you you had lactose intolerance. And you believe the devil. And that's why you're dying. The devil told you cholesterol is bad. Saturated animal fats is bad. So you swore off dairy products because some health guru came on television and told you that you shouldn't have dairy. And so you've been depriving yourself and your children of the proper nutrition. That's why you're in the state that you're in. And that's why your children are coming up with a stunted growth. Both a physical stunting and also a mental stunting. You notice your children, they're not actually as smart as you were. Because you're not feeding them the food that it takes to build a brain and a nervous system so they can stand up and accept this mission and accept the responsibility of a man or a woman of God once they attain maturity. So I think that you get the idea here. These represent the fulfillment of human needs. To the degree that you accept the responsibility to be the new rulers, to that degree, you will build these ministries. Every one of you will find your place. Nobody has to tell you where you belong. Like when I wrote to Honorable Elijah Muhammad to find out whether it was okay to go to medical school. He said, brother, we need everything in the building of a nation. You know what you are qualified to do. May Allah bless you with success. But if that was good advice to me, that's good advice to you. We need everything. Don't be asking somebody what you should do or what they have for you to do. You know what you are qualified to do. He told us in 1974, just get up and do something. May Allah bless us with success. Assalamu alaikum.
But now we wasn't talking about all that politics. You're not interested in politics when you're hungry anyhow. See, because the election wouldn't be till November. Now, if you ain't had nothing to eat since January, you won't be too much interested in who's running for office. Let's get real. Okay, you have something that you call income. Whatever it is. It's the money that you get that you live on, right? And you lived all through, say, 1998 on your income. And most of us, how much did we save? How much of your income do you have left over at the end of 1998? How much of your income do you have left? Most people don't have none left. Matter of fact, you was living above your means, weren't you? Because you had them charge cards. So you was charging everything. So not only did you spend everything that you got in 1998, but you were also buying on credit, so you were in hock through 99. Isn't that right? But now let's look at this. Suppose you have to hold out for 3 months in the year 2000 because your job shut down. The supermarket is closed. You have no utilities. You ain't get no help from no place. Your Social Security check don't come. Your Veterans Administration check don't come. Your welfare check don't come. All the stuff that you dependent on ain't working no more. Your Medicare don't work no more. Your Medicaid don't work no more. The hospital don't work no more. So now here we really are in the middle of a disaster now, and you trying to hold out. You think, well, I think this thing will blow over and white folks will be back in power within 3 months. At least you hoping that they'll be back in power. Well, now 3 months is equal to 25% of a year. Right? So doesn't it stand to reason that if you're going to have to support yourself on what you have stored up, and you're going to support yourself for 3 months, then doesn't it stand to reason that you're going to have to somehow or other save 25% of your current income that you're going to earn in 1999 to apply it to the 3 months or so that you're going to have to wait it out in the year 2000? Am I making sense? Are you with me on this? See, so then what does that mean for your budget in 1999? It means that in 1999, you're going to have to live on 75% of your income. If you try to live at 100% of your income, you're not going to have nothing to set aside for the year 2000. You're going to have to lower your expectations. God is already bringing you down. You're like a grasshopper that's been flying high. And now you're feeling the first puff of that chill. That means autumn is coming. And soon winter is going to be here. And your high-flying days are over. So I want you to think about this. Now, what will you do with this 25% that you will save? See, in other words, you have to save if you intend to save yourself. So you're talking about what you are saving or not saving. Well, what you're really not saving is yourself. And if you won't save yourself, then what will you save? So here's what you have to do as we close out. And we're not done, but we just have to close out. It's time. That's what America's going to say. We're not finished with what we were doing. But a lot going to say, it's time. So what you have to do is think about it in different ways. You have to think about it as an individual person, because you certainly have to save your life. The Holy Quran says, he who saves the life, it is as though he had saved the lives of all men. Well, certainly the life that you need to save is your own. So you have to think about, what will it take for me as an individual person to survive this fall of America that Y2K is a part of? Then you're a member of a family, because you didn't get here by yourself. You have a mother and a father. You may have sisters. You may have brothers. You may have children and grandchildren, uncles and aunts, nephews and nieces, and on and on and on. And that is your family. Now, what are you going to do to see to it that your family survives? Or don't you care about your family? See, if all these things are going to take place January the 1st, year 2000, then you got to make a move before January the 1st. If you wait till the 31st of December, that's too late. If grandma's down in Mississippi, somebody got to go get grandma now. You got to decide who you think your family is. Who's in your family anyhow? Which ones do you care about and which ones don't you care about? Which ones do you want to live and which ones are you prepared to let die? What about your neighbors? See, you live in Chicago, most of you. Living in apartment houses. in densely populated neighborhoods. Remember Exodus? Didn't Minister Farrakhan tell us to go out and make friends with our neighbors? He didn't say get no customer across town. You on the south side of Chicago and you got a customer on the west side. No, your customer should be your next door neighbor. Because when Y2K comes, your neighbors are either going to be your enemies or your allies. Have you organized your apartment yet? So all the people that live in your apartment building understand what is taking place, and all of them are going to be ready so that you will be a united force in order to help everybody to survive. Or do you have a situation going on, you don't talk to your neighbors and they don't talk to you. You don't care about them and they don't care about you. Because if it's like that, then some of your neighbors, they coming through your wall. You talking about, I'm prepared myself. I got my beans. Well, guess what? Somebody got an axe and they coming through your wall. They coming down through your ceiling. And they're going to take what you got because you didn't make friends with them while you had a chance. I asked a brother one time, he was talking about he was going to board up his house, and he was looking for a stink bomb because when he started cooking the bean soup, he didn't want the neighbors to be able to smell the bean soup. I said, brother, do your children play with the children across the street? He said, yeah. I said, do they come in your house? Yeah. Do your children go in their house? Yes. I said, now, brother, would you be prepared to watch your children's playmates starve to death? Would you be prepared to do that? I asked another group, I said, who would you be ready to kill over a bowl of bean soup? And if you did that, would you still be considered a Muslim? Or would you be considered something else? See, how do you get through a disaster like this? How do you get through the judgment of the world and maintain your religion? Maintain your righteousness? Or do you descend and become a savage and like a beast of prey in the jungle, preying on one another? Can you maintain civilization when the civilization so-called that you have known is being destroyed? Then we have to think about this thing. Who belongs to your neighborhood? Who belongs to your community? Who do you consider worth saving? If the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if I have a bowl of bean soup and my brother has none, then half of my bean soup belongs to my brother. Well, wait a minute. See, we've been clapping to the principle. It's a beautiful principle, but we've been clapping to the principle without the practice. Why don't you put it to a test? Why don't you ask your brother for a half a bowl of bean soup and see if you get it? Why don't you ask your sister for a half a bowl of bean soup and see if she want to charge you $1 for it? See, because when Y2K comes, that's not the time to find out who your allies are. That's not the time to find out where your help is. That's not the time to find where your support is. You got to know that in advance. Or you think this is a joke? Do you think that you really have to be ready? Or you can just be a grasshopper and just skate around all the next year and not get ready? Do you think that you can live 1999 like you lived 1998? Don't you understand that your world has already changed? You don't live in the same world that you once lived in. If you're the same old person that you used to be, then you are going to be a non-survivor. A survivor is one who outlives something, who outlasts something. I don't know how long this Y2K disaster is going to bring things to a halt. I personally don't believe that America will ever get herself up out of the dust. The book says that Babylon the Great has fallen to rise no more. Allah don't bring down his enemies so they can get back up. When Allah take you down, you stay down. When he kills you, you stay dead. So what we got to be talking about is how are all of us going to get together and prepare ourselves. There is no such thing as individual preparation. Ain't no individual's going to survive. Preparation is a characteristic of a community. Maybe that's why Minister Farrakhan gave us self-improvement as the basis of community development. Because we have to improve ourselves individually so we can be fitting and qualified members of a community that will contribute to the life and well-being of each other. We got to think for the whole. How much food is needed by this congregation? How much water is needed by this congregation? How much medicine is needed by this congregation? And when are we going to pool our resources and make ourselves ready before it's too late? The Mormons announced last week they have stopped selling food to non-Mormons. The Mormons are buying up all of the food-producing companies across the country. They're taking care of their people. The Southern Baptist Convention, they have alerted their congregation. They're buying down the food stores in the warehouses across America. They're buying the solar technology. They're buying the radios. They're buying the generators. They're buying the water storage and the water purification kits. By the time we wake up, the shelves are going to be empty. I asked a group yesterday, I asked this group, where do they keep the food in Chicago? I don't mean the jewel market. They got about 48 to 72 hours worth of food in that market. I mean, where they keep the real food? Where is the warehouse? Is it in your neighborhood? Do you know where it is? Do you know who has the key? Do you know the phone number? What do you know about the food in Chicago since you live in Chicago? You better find out where the food is. And you better make some kind of a deal with the people that got the food. Otherwise, you'll have none. So get your finances together. Buy gold, buy silver. Have things that you can trade and barter, just in case these dollars ain't worth nothing. We had a series of articles in the final call, so I'm not going to go through the individual food items and things that you should have. Just go get those articles. It has everything in there that you need to survive. And then you have to look at it for yourself, because there may be some special needs that you have. For example, you might like toilet paper. I don't know. A lot of people do. So if you're one of those people that you like toilet paper, well, how much toilet paper would you need for 3 months or 6 months? Or else just save your phone book. They got a big phone book in Chicago. That might get you through in a pinch. Don't forget the can opener. Don't forget the flashlight. Do you have any ham radios so that you can communicate independent of radio and telephones? Do you have your medical kit, your first aid kit? Sister, are you going to be pregnant in the year 2000? Who's going to deliver your baby? Does your husband know how to deliver a baby yet? You ain't going to Providence Hospital. You won't even want to be in there with all them computers and stuff going wrong in there. On that day, hospitals are going to be a death trap. Airplanes going to be a death trap. You got to learn how to do for yourself. You better go back down south and talk to grandma and grandpa. You better ask them how to survive. I know you got a college degree, but they didn't teach you how to survive in college. But Grandpa and Uncle Jesse, he knows how to survive. You better see if you can get Uncle Herman to move in with you. Aunt Sadie needs to get the back bedroom in your house because Aunt Sadie knows how to can and you don't. You better settle those differences that keep us apart and at odds with one another. Settle your differences so that we can embrace as a loving, compassionate community. So brothers and sisters, that's just a peek. This study that was commissioned by Nixon and released under Ford and participated in by Kissinger and CIA Director George Bush, it was entitled The Implications of Worldwide Population Growth to United States Foreign Interests. It detailed 13 nations whose populations were growing at such a rapid pace that it seemed to threaten American power. They mentioned Iraq. They mentioned Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, China, the Philippines, Ethiopia, Egypt, Nigeria, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and Malaysia. That's 13, I think. They also mentioned the Palestinians, but they were mentioned separately because they are not considered officially to be a nation. They pointed out that Brazil is the biggest African nation outside of Africa. That at that time, in 1974, she had a population that was approaching 100 million, and that by the year 2035, the population of Brazil would be greater than the population of the United States. And the pace at which Brazil was industrializing and utilizing the vast natural resources in the Amazon River, that sometime by the middle of the 21st century, Brazil, a black African nation, this is the language that they used, would become the center of economic and political power in the Western Hemisphere, supplanting America. They said much the same thing about Nigeria, whose population was estimated to be about 70 million at the time of this report. And they said that by mid-21st century, Nigeria would become a superpower on the African continent in its own right, and that Nigeria was especially dangerous because they had an educated, industrious population and a strong military. They said Nigeria might begin to exert its influence as a superpower over the flow of natural resources out of Africa, and might decide that these resources would be better used for the development of Africa rather than to enhance the development of Europe and America. Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They said the same thing about Iraq. That with the oil wealth in Iraq and the high level of education in Iraq and the burgeoning population of Iraq, that they were going to become the regional superpower and overshadow their ally Israel. And so out of this study, released in 1974, late 73, 74, they formulated a policy of world population reduction. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Under Jimmy Carter, the plan was extended in a report that was called Global 2000. And the reason that they called it Global 2000 was that they intended to produce a global reduction in population of 2.7 billion people by the year 2000. Are you listening?
And their agenda, as articulated by President Carter, is that we want to reduce the world's population by 2.7 billion people. We want to cause their death by war, by famine, by pestilence, by disease. And since there is no natural disease that is sufficient to produce death on this scale, then the wicked scientists of America, in the Soviet Union, in South Africa, in Israel, conspired together to produce a biological that is death made perfect. It's a perfect weapon that once it touches any individual, then that individual, you might as well just write a certificate. You're a virgin? You said me. No, I said us. A virgin is a woman who has never been touched by a man or received the seed of a man. A virgin people is a nation that has never had divine intercourse, has never been visited by God, never been impregnated with divine truth, never gave birth to a messenger. And so every nation on the earth can boast of their divine intercourse. And the evidence that they had divine intercourse is in the messenger or prophet that they produced. Go ahead, sir. So you go to China and they talk about Confucius. And there's evidence that they had divine intercourse. You go to India and they boast of Krishna and Buddha, and there's evidence of divine intercourse. You go into the Middle East and they boast of Muhammad and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and there's evidence of divine intercourse. You go into the Mexican American people and they boast of Quetzalcoatl, and that is evidence of divine intercourse. But when you come to the Negroes in America, of whom can they vote? But until the coming of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, we had no vote. We couldn't point to any divine messenger of God that had ever come from us. But after the coming of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, we see the rise of one. In fact, Master Farrakhan Muhammad produced twins. We see the rise of two. A double G. So we got the real Christmas story. Who's in the manger? We're in the manger. That's right. Because we ain't got no place. That's right. We was locked out of everything. That's right. Had no place to come to birth. That's right. So we came to birth in a humble place. And there was a star seen in heaven as a sign. And in fact, on October the 16th, there was another star that was never seen before. That came into view on that day. And the wise men saw it. You say, I didn't see nothing. Well, I said the wise men saw it. We haven't necessarily got wise yet. That we know how to read the heavens, but they reported what they saw. And so, who is this Jesus that's in the manger? It's a new ruler. Even from his birth, they knew he was a king. Even before his birth, the enemy, the wicked of the earth, were fearful of him ever coming to birth, and they conspired against him to destroy his life even before he would know life. And so that's very familiar to all of us. We know that we were born into a world that hated us without cause. Right? When you go places and they see your black face, they turn you down, they reject you. They throw stones at you. They arrest you, they beat you, they shoot you, they lynch you just on the sight of your black face.
That's right.
And you say, I haven't done any evil to any of these people.
That's right.
I haven't stolen anything. I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't robbed anybody. But yet I just show up and they call security.
That's
They
right.
call 911. They call somebody to come and take action against me just because I'm black.
That's right.
So there's a conspiracy against your life.
That's right. That's right.
Usually when I go places, they want me to talk about AIDS. But what do you think AIDS is? AIDS is part of a conspiracy to destroy you, to wipe you off the face of the earth, to come in the natural act of sex and transmit not life, but transmit death to your unborn generation. So you give birth to a baby. And that baby might have the potential to be a little Jesus that would grow up and do miracles in the midst of the people, but you transmitted the AIDS virus to that little baby, and the enemy knows that baby will probably never grow up to do anything.
Come on.
And so there's a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy to ship drugs into your neighborhood.
That's right.
To ship guns into your neighborhood. You don't make none of that stuff.
That's right.
But they deprive you of a job and the means of a livelihood on one hand, and then show you how you could make a lot of money selling drugs.
That's right.
And then they tell your brother the same thing. And so then you and your brother go to war over a turf that neither one of you actually own.
That's right.
Isn't that right? They send a snitch, a police informant into your midst.
That's right.
The one you selling, that you're buying your drugs from, is actually a police informant.
That's right.
Got out of prison 6 months ago on an early release program. They sent him right to you.
That's right.
To sell you drugs. And then you sell them in your neighborhood. And then pretty soon they send an undercover policeman.
Yeah.
And you sell some drugs to an undercover policeman. Then they bust you. And then when you go to court, this undercover police informant is right there to testify against you. Yeah, he was buying drugs all back in time.
That's how it goes.
Then they got a court-appointed attorney
That's on the setup.
to engineer what they call a plea bargain. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Haul you in the court.
That's right.
Only you don't have no trial by jury because they get you to plead guilty to a lesser offense.
That's right.
Go ahead. Your court-appointed attorney is like the old-time slave master. Go ahead. He's in the back room cutting the deal with the district attorney over your life. How much time you going to do? The district attorney wants you to do maximum time because you are worth more locked up than you are out on the street. Go ahead. If you're locked up, you generate for the economy more than $40,000 a year. But a free black man on the street is only worth a little over $20,000 a year. So they'd rather have you locked up. And so the district attorney, he wants to throw the book at you, give you the maximum sentence. Your court-appointed attorney, he's trying to get you a little lesser time so you'll be back on the street again so he can represent you one more time and make another fee. They're making merchandise out of us. Now they got a new law. They say 3 strikes and you're in. 3 strikes and you're in. For life. Because they want to keep you locked up forever. They got it going now that this prison system is a $40 billion a year industry.
That's right. That's right.
On top of that, they got you producing up to $9 billion of goods as free labor. In other words, slave on the inside. And then as you add to that the money that you would have earned if you were out in the street, you're talking about another $20 or $30 billion that doesn't go to your family, that doesn't go to your children. Because you're locked up in this system. So there's a conspiracy against the black man.
That's right.
To deprive you of life even before you can get started.
That's right.
Put you in a school that does not educate you.
That's right.
Put you in an economy that does not allow you to make a living. And then they stand back to see what happens. And if they pick over you because you look like you got a little promise, they sign you up in their army. Because they got a war somewhere against some non-white country. So they want you in uniform to go over there and kill your brother. And you're doing it because there's no job for you on the outside. See, they rejected Jesus 2,000 years ago for the same reason that they reject Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and the same reason they reject you.
Come on now.
Jesus was just a little bit too black. See, white people ain't no different today than they were 2,000 years ago. They didn't care how good Jesus was.
That's right.
He's a nigga. They don't take no instructions from no nigga.
That's right.
Even ones that's sent by God.
That's right.
That's right. All right.
Straight up.
That's right.
They don't make no bones about that. They don't care how right you are. They don't care how just you are. They don't care how innocent you are. They don't care what kind of miracles you can perform. You would think that this little black man over in Kenya who invented Kimron, which is the best treatment for AIDS, you think they would give him the Nobel Prize for Medicine, would you?
That's right.
You think he was called Time Magazine Man of the Year.
That's right. T.
But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the devil will never give you credit for your righteousness.
That's right.
He ain't going to never give you no credit for your good works.
That's right.
You think they're going to give Minister Farrakhan credit for his good work?
No, sir.
You think they're going to give the Honorable Elijah Muhammad credit for his good work?
No, sir.
Do you think they're going to give you credit for your good work?
No, sir.
No, you got to get your credit and your award and reward from God.
That's right.
And whatever credit that we can give to one another.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So brothers and sisters, this is Christmas.
Yes, sir.
But we have to ask the question, who's Christmas? Who's
Right.
Christ? And who's Jesus? And who's Christ is born this day? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that Yaqub grafted the Caucasian white people from original black people. Now, 60 years ago, back in the 30s, when we first heard that, that sounded crazy. How could you say that white people were grafted from black people? That's a fairy tale. If you read the so-called autobiography of Malcolm X, they got a little account in there about Yaqub's history, but it's told in a tone of gross mockery. It's almost like Malcolm was trying to say, how could I have believed this foolishness?
Right.
Or at least that's what Alex Haley put in it. I mean, Malcolm didn't really write it himself. It's hard to tell where Malcolm begins and leaves off and Alex Haley begins. Because the autobiography, strictly speaking, is supposed to be written by the person themselves.
Right.
But here you got the autobiography of a man, Malcolm X, written by another man, Alex Haley. That don't even make sense. Sort of casts doubt on the whole book. What would you say? But in 1992, how can we doubt what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching 60 years ago? You have to realize that we must guard against giving too much credit to this world and how smart we think they are. See, one of the problems in our thinking is that we think white people are smarter than they are, and we think that black people are dumber than they are. White folks in 1930 didn't know nothing about genetic engineering, did they?
No, sir.
Matter of fact, unless you just graduated from school just a few years ago, you didn't know nothing about it till just a few years ago. Now you know all about genetic engineering. Now they talk about making tomatoes through genetic engineering, and they're going to have pig genes in the tomato to make the tomato fat. They're going to be having that in the supermarket real soon. Have you a pig tomato. And they're making them square. Genetic engineering. You can take a natural living thing, manipulate the genetic material in it, in other words, the chromosomes, and then you can make it into something that God never created. When you do that to any living germ, then you have made a devil. Yaqub did that 6,000 years ago with human beings. The scientists of today are beginning to get to the point where they can do it with other creatures. So you have a white mouse and a white rat, or even though at home, them mice and rats that you got at home, you know the ones I mean. You ain't never surprised a white mouse in your kitchen, have you? You ain't never caught a white rat in no trap, have you? Although you know the scientists have made such creatures for scientific experimentation. Well, if you can do that with a mouse or rat or rabbit, any hunters in the audience? You ever go out in the field hunting and come home with a white rabbit? No, you ain't never found a white rabbit out there running in the field. But they exist, don't they? In a laboratory, made by some scientist for an experiment. Well, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying is exactly the same thing. That 6,600 and some odd years ago, Yaqub grafted original black people and made a people that were unalike, that we call Caucasian. The word Caucasian meaning stale face and weak bones. And they are that. That's why they changed their name and call themselves white. But it's better to be called white than it is to be called Caucasian. Who would want to be known as stale face? Weak bones. But we see every time they try to play ball with the black man, they manifest their weak bones, don't they? They throw their body up against the black man breaks their bones, don't they? They go Larry Bird out with another injury. He's good as long as he's healthy, but he can't stay in there with Charles Barkley and the boys. They bust him up.
Yes, right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Right.
Well, how did Yaqub make them? It was through a process of controlling the birth of babies. If I wanted to breed horses, could I let the horses go out there and mate any kind of way they want to?
No, sir.
If I was breeding dogs or cattle or sheep or any creature like that, if I want to breed a certain type of cattle or sheep or goat or whatever, don't I have to control them?
Yes, sir.
And make sure that I choose who mates with who?
Right.
Well, that's what Yaqub did. He set up a system like that to control the mating of human beings because he was trying to produce certain characteristics in human beings that normally would not occur.
That's right.
By doing that, you can come out with a little itty-bitty dog that'll fit in a teacup. You just don't let no big dogs mate with these dogs. Any big dog come around, you run that dog away with a stick, don't you? Leave my little dog alone. I'm trying to get me a midget here. And if you can control that for enough generations, then you come up with a little midget dog. Yaqub was trying to do something. He was trying to solve one of the mysteries of the ages. Really trying to solve the problem that you're trying to solve. That's why you really shouldn't look at Yaqub as your enemy. Because out of what Yaqub has done comes a solution to your problem. But what is your problem? Your problem is that you would like to be like God, which is to say perfect.
Right.
But you find it so difficult to achieve. Sometimes it's like your understanding is perfect, but your ability to act on what you understand is imperfect.
Yes, sir.
So the Bible says that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we want to be Muslims because we know that is the way we should go if we want to perfect ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually or morally. But when we try to practice Islam, that's when we find out how difficult it really is. It's easy for us to know that we should pray 5 times a day, but it's hard for us to do it, isn't it? It's easy for us to know that we should fast, especially during the month of Ramadan, but that we should fast and eat no more than 1 meal a day or 1 meal every other day. But it's hard to put that into practice, isn't it? We know we should tell the truth, regardless to whom or what. And it's easy to hear that being preached in the mosque, and we believe it, and we bear witness that that's right. But we end up telling lies before we hit the front door. Somebody asks us the wrong question that's going to put us in jeopardy, and then we go to lying. So what is it that makes it, on the one hand, possible for us to understand what perfection is and what righteousness is, but on the other hand, so weak that we can't seem to put it into practice? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made it very clear that mere belief counts for nothing unless it is carried into practice. That's right. So believing in Islam, that ain't enough. You got to practice it. That's right. Believing in truth, believing in righteousness, believing in freedom, justice, and equality, that's not enough. You actually have to have the power to put it into practice. And what we have noticed all of our lives is when we go to put these principles into practice, our practice always falls short of the ideal.
Yes, sir.
For we mostly tell the truth. We're honest most of the time. We're righteous if we don't get tempted too bad. We can stay on the fast if we don't get too hungry. And I was doing good when I quit smoking till I went to the office party. And everybody in there was smoking, and I just broke down. And I really had given up reefing. Till my no good friends came over and offered me some, and then before I knew it, I don't know what happened to me. Go ahead. Isn't that the way it goes?
Yes, sir.
They say the road to hell is paved with what? Good intention. The real mystery of the ages is how come we can have such good intentions but we end up in hell? And so Yaqub discovered, listen good now, Yaqub discovered that in the nature of the original people of the earth, there was an unalike nature that was operating in a hidden way. That on the surface, yes, you're a good person, you're a righteous person, you're a truthful person, you're in the image and likeness of God. But underneath that, there's another reality, another hidden power or aspect of yourself that exerts a subtle influence on your thoughts and your behaviors.
Yes, sir.
So when you start off on the right path, pretty soon you start deviating. And before you know it, you have deviated so far, you wonder, what happened? How did I get over here? How did I get off the path? I was doing so good. Hasn't that happened to you?
Yes, sir.
Don't it keep happening to you?
Yes, sir.
That's why you have to keep pulling yourself back and pulling yourself back and struggling. And it seems the more you struggle, the harder it gets. Till sometimes you get to the point, you just say, the hell with it. Yeah, many of us say that. The hell with it. It's too hard trying to be right. Well, Yaqub said, I wonder what that is that makes us do wrong. It's hidden, it's covered up, we can't see it. Let me see what I can do to bring it out into manifest reality.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And so he set up a system of birth control to not allow the real dark ones to marry. He did it, and they still follow it to this day. You can't just go get married because you're in love. You got to go get a license, and before they give you the license to marry, they got to take a blood test. That's from Yaqub's day. And he had the doctor to tell the people if they were real dark, well, you can't marry because your blood doesn't mix. You have to choose another man. Tell the minister, don't marry him. You know, because the blood didn't mix. That was a lie. It was just that Yaqub was trying to do something.
Yes, sir.
He came back and the two mates were not too dark, or one was lighter than the other, then that was permitted. The doctor would tell another lie and say, well, the blood mixed this time, so you can go on and get married, and the preacher would marry them. Then he would bless them and hope that they had many children. Now, when the children started being born, if the child came out real dark, then the nurse was there to deliver the child and to kill it instantly. Kill the black child, save the lighter ones. Tell the mother where your baby was stillborn and went to heaven already to find you a place. So just keep trying. You know, maybe the next one will be good. If the next one born was lighter, then let that one live. Present it to the mother. Tell her she gave birth to a very, very great child that would be a great man or woman one day. By doing that, over generations, within 200 years, Yaqub had produced a different population of people that were no longer black. They were brown. He continued that. Killing the dark ones, saving the light ones. Killing the dark ones, saving the light ones. Killing the dark ones, saving the light ones. Lying all the way. Lying up and down. Down the way Elijah Muhammad says, Yaqub made all of his laborers liars. They were forbidden to tell the truth, because telling the truth would have ruined the experiment that he was carrying out. So they all became liars, and they all became murderers. After 600 years, now a generation is born that is completely different and unlike the original people that they had started with.
That's right.
And this unlike people that now has a nature of lying and murder inbred. And all of the redeeming characteristics of morality have been taken out. Now you have a man in which there is no good at all. Now you don't have someone in the image and likeness of God. You have someone that is in the image and likeness of Satan. That is Satan.
That's right.
He's a liar and the father of lies. He's a murderer. And then he's let loose on the planet. So this is what Yaqub is prophesying of. I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that rode upon him was Death, and hell followed after him, and power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says this is symbolic language that gives us the 6,000-year history of the white race. That's right. The white horse, or the pale horse, that represents the Caucasian people. In Scripture, the horse is a symbol of power, especially the power of rulership. And it's not a stationary rulership, just like a horse is not a stationary animal. But the horse is able to cover vast different distances across the earth. Isn't that right? Yes, sir. And so the Caucasian was given power over a fourth of the earth, meaning that he was put in exile in what we call Europe. But he didn't stay confined in Europe, did he?
No, sir.
But he's roamed all over the earth. They're celebrating now the 500th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's voyage. And the reason they're so excited about Christopher Columbus was because Christopher Columbus showed them an escape route out of Europe.
That's right.
And once they escaped out of Europe and came into the New World, came into Africa, came into Asia, came into the Isles of the Pacific, came into Australia, what have they brought with them? When the white man comes in, death comes in.
That's right.
And what follows shortly thereafter? Hell. So that every kingdom of people in whatever quarter of the earth, when they look at their history, they say, we was doing all right.
That's right.
I mean, we had our problems, but for the most part, everything was all right till these white people came in.
That's right.
When they came in, the people started dying. Look at the Indians here in America. When Christopher Columbus came in to the Caribbean in 1492, there were 15 million Carib and Arawak Indians. 15 million. By 1516, that number had been reduced down to 1,500. See, that's death on a grand scale. The white man shows up, and one generation, your population is decimated. Well, how did he decimate it? Well, the scripture says that you will be given power to kill with the sword, with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And so the Spaniards and the Portuguese, they came in and they slaughtered the Indians with the sword, wholesale, as many as they could kill. And then they gained control over the farmland and the production of food, and they starved them to death. And then they used the beasts of the earth to kill them. Not the big beasts, but the little beasts, the little beasties that are the microorganisms, the viruses, the bacteria, these kind of invisible beasts that they carried with them out of Europe, the germ for syphilis, tuberculosis, smallpox, all of these epidemic diseases that had never been seen in the world before. The Caucasian brought these beasts with him. And in a generation, the Indians had died from these plagues of disease. So a little handful of Europeans start marching through Central America and South America, destroying the Inca Empire and kingdom that had existed for thousands of years. They do the same thing in India, same thing in Indochina, the same thing in China, the same thing in the Isles of the Pacific, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in the Hawaiian Islands. Everywhere the Caucasian goes, death is right there with him. He is death. Don't make a mistake. We're not saying that they're wicked because they're white. The color of a man's skin is not what makes him good or bad. He's wicked because of what he does, and what he does is coming out of the nature in which he was grafted by Yakub. He has a philosophy of white supremacy. And this is poison to the mind. Because when you begin to evaluate reality on the basis of the principles of white supremacy, then you are believing in a lie. And whatever you establish on the base of a lie cannot endure. And so when the structure of your mind is based on the lie of white supremacy, then your mind goes out of existence. So the Caucasian takes over the educational system wherever he goes. And he destroys the history of the people. He destroys their respect for one another. He destroys their own philosophies, their own religions, and replaces it with something from himself. And when he is able to take a good image of black people out of the mind of black people and replace it with the image of himself, then he has destroyed your mind.
That's right.
He did it among all people. Not just the black people, but the red people, the yellow people, everywhere, all over the earth. And of course, he's done the same thing in religion. In the spiritual realm, he's produced spiritual death. So Islam today is not what it's supposed to be because it's been taken over by the devil himself. Christianity today is not what Jesus was teaching, because they not only crucified him, but they crucified his teaching. Put it to death. And then substituted some mystery slave-making religion in its stead that backs up and supports white supremacy. I remember about 15 years ago when Reverend Moon first came on the scene from Korea. And he was trying to bring about a religious revival in America. They interviewed him on TV, and I was watching. Said, I want to see what this Korean's talking about. I mean, he's act like he's getting ready to take over America or something. They said, well, Reverend Moon, you're on this crusade. Well, how did you get inspired to do such a thing? Say, well, I had a dream. And in this dream, I saw Moses, I saw Jesus, and I saw Muhammad. And they spoke to me in this dream and told me what I'm supposed to be doing. You actually saw Jesus in a dream, Reverend Moon? Yes. Well, how did you know it was him? Well, he looked just like the pictures. I said, uh-oh. If he looked like that picture that Michelangelo painted, then it means that this devil is so clever that he penetrates even into the subconscious mind of people. So that even in your dream, you think you're having some divine inspiration in your dream, and it's the devil right there at the core of your mind, coming into your mind, speaking to you like he's the angel of light, like it's the voice of God, and sending you out to make a fool of you. Good teaching. So death is riding a pale horse. Oh, yes. What white folks are saying to us and to the whole world is sort of like Shakespeare's sonnet. You know, Shakespeare wrote the sonnet, "How do I love thee? Let me count the ways." White folks are saying, "How can I kill thee? Let me count the ways. Shall I kill you with the sword? Or would you prefer a gun? Or would you prefer to put on one of my uniforms so I can send you to a foreign battlefield somewhere to die? Would you like me to kill you in your water supply? Or should I kill you in your food supply? Listen. Or should I send crack cocaine into your neighborhood so you can smoke that? Oh, you don't like cocaine? Well, let me supply you with heroin so you can inject it in your veins. How shall I kill thee? You got a free mind. You got a free will. Why don't you tell me the way in which you want me to kill you? Oh, you don't want to be killed by a white man's hand. Well, then I'll put the gun in your brother's hand. And I will influence his mind through records and through movies and through TV so that he will become your murderer. I will make your own children your murderers. I will make your own teachers the murderers of your own mind, because I won't teach you white supremacy myself, but I will send a teacher into the schoolhouse to teach you white supremacy. I won't teach you religion myself, but I will get one of your own people and ordain them as a preacher to come into the church in front of an all-black congregation and teach them to bow down to a Caucasian Jesus?
Wake us up, please.
How can I kill you? Let me count the ways. Oh, you like sex. Well, let me see if I can put death in sex, since you love to do that, and nobody can stop you from doing that. Jesus tried to get you under control. Muhammad tried to get you under control. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad tried to get your sexual passions under control. And we notice, even though you would put down the heroin sometimes and put down the alcohol sometimes, you ain't never put that down. It had already programmed your culture. We had the Isley brothers crooning to you. If you can't be with the one you love, then love the one you with. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to suck it to. It's your thing. And so since you like to do it, then I put death in doing it. And here we have syphilis, here we have gonorrhea, here we have AIDS, which is death made perfect. So death is riding a pale horse. Power was given to them to rule with the sword, with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. So their power to rule does not reside in the qualities of justice, in freedom, in equality, in truth, in any of those lofty principles that were enunciated by the prophets. Their ability to rule is based on one thing and one thing alone, and that is their ability to kill.
That's right. That's right.
So the last time Minister Farrakhan was here in LA, what was he talking about? Stop the killing. He said in one place, we can't stop the killing until we stop the killer. Well, how did you take his speech? If you took it like most people did, you thought Minister Farrakhan was talking about the gangbangers who was responsible for the killing. And yes, in part, he was. But look how quickly the gangbangers have responded to the word of a divine messenger. They stopped the killing, haven't they? They stopped the killing. They realized that that ain't the way. They're looking for a new way. And so they're following in the footsteps of Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as they follow his footsteps, he shows them a better way of life and how to avoid death. But the gangbangers, they was never the major killers. They was just little small-time killers. George Bush and the boys, those are the big-time killers. Those are the big-time killers. They kill 1.5 million babies every year in the abortion clinics. They killed 500,000 in the Iraq war, dropping their smart bombs. Very few of the 500,000 were actually soldiers in uniform. Most of who they killed were women and children. Look at how they control the food supply in Africa, so that now they're saying that 1/3 of the people in Somalia could be dead of starvation in just the next few days.
Listen.
Saying that 40 to 50 to 60 million black people in Africa will be dead of AIDS early in the 21st century. Think about this. In most of Africa right now, as well as Central and South America, their policies of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund have produced a situation of negative population growth. That means that more people are being killed than are being born. They're talking about reducing the population of the earth. This is Jimmy Carter in his report called Global 2000. They want to reduce the population of the earth by 2.7 billion people by the year 2000. Death rides a pale horse. Might be Democratic, might be Republican, but the agenda is still the same. They might be American, they might be British, they might be French, they might be German or Italian, but the agenda is all the same. It's genocide against non-white people. Matter of fact, why should we expect better treatment at their hands than they give their own people? Look at Europe. They're fighting wars on top of wars in Europe today, aren't they? Who started World War I? Was it black folks? Was it the Bloods and the Crips that started World War II? No, white folks. If they can't kill black folks, they don't mind killing each other. Do they? Do they? Yet you think that they're supposed to do better by you than they do themselves.
Think about it. Think about it.
Rodney King. When was it ever illegal for white people to beat black people in America?
Think about it.
When was it ever illegal? That ain't against the law. America wouldn't be America if they didn't beat black people, kill black people. Matter of fact, white folks is scratching their head. What are y'all so upset about? We usually kill niggas like that. Matter of fact, they wondered why he didn't die. Because they put the kind of whooping on a man that's designed to kill a man. But he's just a black man. And he don't die that easy. He's of the tribe of Shabazz. Just like I yeah. Shabazz is the name given to the tribe that produces the gods. Those that survived the deportation of the moon 66 trillion years ago are called Shabazz. We are the children of our father Shabazz, who sat in the circle of the gods 50,000 years ago. That's a wonderful name. That which cannot be conquered, that which cannot be destroyed. That's who you are. And so, brothers and sisters, we're at the end of this age of death, where white folks have literally given it their best. The good old college tribe. I mean, the fact that any of us are still alive today is through no fault of theirs that we're still alive.
Listen to what he's
If
saying.
George Washington and Thomas Jefferson could see 30 to 40 to 50 million blacks and Chicano brothers and sisters and Indian brothers and sisters in America still alive in 1992, they would be turning in their graves. Because they had set in motion an agenda and a policy in this country that was designed to destroy us all together.
Listen.
Your very existence is a threat to them.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why today, brothers and sisters, we're not justified in harboring any fear at all, except the fear of God,
Yes, sir. All right.
which is considered to be the beginning of wisdom. We're created by nature as social beings. We need one another. You can't make it on your own. I can't make it on my own. That's why we celebrate the brotherhood and the sisterhood of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Because if it were not for the brotherhood of Islam, I wouldn't be standing before you today. Because there were weaknesses that I was plagued with, which would have overcome me. Because isn't it interesting and paradoxical how strong our weaknesses are?
That's right. Yes, sir.
And some of my weaknesses were so strong that if it had just been up to me, I would have quit Islam a long time ago. I would have said, this is too hard.
Yes, sir.
But as a young Muslim, I was coming up in an FOI house. And so where I was weak, some of my brothers were strong. And where they were weak, I was strong. And so we were there for one another. And we strengthened one another. And we inspired one another. And we helped one another. All praises due to Allah. And that's the only way that any of us can be successful. Through the aid and help of one another. So we need brotherhood. We need sisterhood. And we need to strengthen it. And when problems come up, that's not a sign that we don't need brotherhood or that brotherhood doesn't work.
That's right.
It just means we need to tighten it up a little bit. And you will know that you have passed from death into life when you learn to love the brotherhood. See, so some are saying, well, I don't know anything about this brotherhood thing. It seems to me I am on my own in this wicked old world. Ain't nobody helping me. If I don't do for myself, ain't nobody going to do something for me. That's the typical existence of the Negro. Have you heard about the Negro?
Yes.
See, in Negro life, that's what they call an oxymoron.
Right.
Do you know what an oxymoron is? That's like a word or a phrase that is self-contradictory. Like jumbo shrimp. You know, that's an oxymoron. How jumbo means big and shrimp means little. It's an oxymoron. So to talk about Negro life, well, Negro means dead. So how could there be dead life? It's an oxymoron. That's why we are so confused and confusing. Because don't nobody understand the Negro. Even the Negro doesn't understand the Negro. I mean, sometimes we just got to shake our head. These Negroes is crazy. And if you try to figure the Negro out, you're going to be crazy. Because you're trying to figure out that which cannot be figured out. As a matter of fact, if someone were to show up with the solution or the key that unlocks the mystery of the Negro, that would be proof that must be God. Because nobody but God could understand this Negro in the wilderness of North America. And that's why we celebrate the coming of God in person. Because he came with the solution for the Negro. See, the word Negro comes into the English language from the Greek, nekros. And it means dead, that which is dead. So we weren't called Negro because it means black in Spanish.
Come on now.
Because for the most part, our slave masters were not the Spaniards.
Right.
They were English-speaking people. But they had reduced us into such a special condition.
Come on.
See, they made us real special.
Right.
So you're a specialty product. Ain't nothing like you in the annals of history. The world don't know nothing about the Negro. This is a product that was made in America under special conditions that reduced a living man and woman, reduced a living people, reduced a living nation into a state of living death. And so they had to come up with a special name for such a special people. So they called us Negro. Well, actually, they called us niggers. But nigger means Negro. So they call us Negro to show a sign of respect. Well, you know, you're supposed to respect the dead. Somebody died, they lay them out. You're supposed to come by and pay your respects. So when you were alive, we used to call you nigger. But now that you laid to rest, now we respect you and call you Negro. And he looks just like himself. See, that's us. We look just like the original black man and woman of the planet Earth. We look just like the mothers and fathers of civilization. We look just like those who built the pyramids. Just like that dead man laying in the funeral parlor looks just like himself. But the thing about it is, he's dead. And he ain't building pyramids. He's not building civilization. He's not doing anything for himself because a condition of death has overcome him. See, this is sort of like a moribund teaching here, isn't it? Talking about death. Who wants to hear about death? Well, actually, just about everybody has an interest in death because that's what life leads to. That's right. Now, some people try to shut that essential fact of life out, that all life ends in death, and pretend like it's not so. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not teach us to believe in life after death, like they teach it. Right. Because actually the way they teach it, that when you physically die, then you going to some pie in the sky existence, that's actually life after life. Right. It's actually denying death. Right. So we don't believe in life after life. We believe that you're going to die one day. And the only way to escape that physical death is not to be born in the first place. But since you didn't have any say in the matter as to whether you would be born or not, you also don't have any say about whether you're going to die or not. See, a sister asked me not long ago, she wanted to know what my ideas were and what my advice to a sister was on birth control. And I thought about it. I looked at the words in the email, birth control. You want to control birth? I said, sister, who are you to control birth? Who do you think you are? You are not the author of life. That's right. Like this, like life is something that you can control. Since when? Now, you can have good sense and intelligence about how you conduct your life. and even how you arrange your family life and how you space your children. Yes, there are things that you can do within your limits.
Right. Right.
But to use that bold language, birth control, like I'm in control of this thing called life. No, you're not. You're an impulse created by life. And the life that you have, that you call yourself, and the life that you give birth to or that you father, is not your life.
That's right. Go ahead.
There's only one life in the universe, and that is the life of the living God. And you in your person, or you in your person, or me in my person, that's not who I am. That's not who you are. You are not the living God in the big sense.
Come on.
You're like a drop of ocean water. Well, in that drop of water is the essence of the ocean, but that's not the ocean.
Right.
So in you is the spark of life. But don't confuse yourself as to thinking that somehow you are the master of life or the controller of life.
Right.
You are not that. So you and I were brought into existence through a force and a power called life that we are not the master of. We did not author it. We did not give life to ourselves. We are not self-created. If you ever want to find a crazy person, go find somebody who is searching their mind for their purpose in life.
Man.
That you have found a crazy person.
Man.
A whole lot of nuts out here like that.
Yes, sir.
They're going through changes. I'm trying to find myself. Well, why don't you just look in the mirror? Where did you think you were? You're right here.
Go ahead.
But you confuse yourself because you think that the purpose or the meaning of your life is somehow within you. Well, how could it be within you since you didn't originate yourself? If I want to find the purpose and the meaning of this building, I would have to try to find out who's the architect.
Right.
What idea did he have in his mind when he drew out the drawings for this building? Well, I start tearing down the walls looking for the purpose and the meaning of the building. Somehow it's hidden somewhere.
Right.
Got to tear it up to find the purpose and the meaning of my life. No, you're tearing yourself to pieces.
Right.
And you're taking more on yourself than you should. Why don't you just realize that you are the creation of a beneficent God?
Right. Right.
And if you need to know the purpose and the meaning of your life, why don't you just ask God?
Right. That's right.
You asking everybody but God. You think your mother knows why you're here? You think your minister can tell you what your purpose of life is? You think that you can sit down and talk to one another and come up with the purpose and meaning of your life? You're just wasting your time. You think you're going to find it in a book? You think you're going to find it in an educational institution? Do you think you're going to find it in material possessions? No. You'll never find it in any of those places. You have to ask God. What's wrong with asking God? He's a nice guy. He's nicer than most of these people that you know. Matter of fact, he's nicer than all the people you know. You keeping company with thieves and robbers and liars.
Yes, sir.
All kinds of mean-spirited and hateful people. You work on a job talking to devils all day long. Live in neighborhoods full of criminals and hoodlums and gangsters. People that don't mean nobody any good at all. And you don't mind talking to them. But now, the best person in the world to speak to, you got a problem with that. Allah, God in the Holy Quran says, call on me.
That's right.
And I will answer you.
Yeah.
He's waiting to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
He's giving you a little time to knock around and figure out that you don't really know what's happening.
Right.
That you're really ignorant and stumbling in the dark. He's assuming that after enough knocks on your head and hickeys and broken bones and pain and suffering, that you would get to the point where you would realize that you don't know what the hell is going on.
Right. Right.
And that you don't know what life is all about. So then, at that point, you would ask the author of life, could you explain to me the rules of life?
Yes, sir.
Because evidently I've been breaking all the rules and doing all the wrong things because look at my condition. Now there's a difficulty in that. See, because I've been talking for the last few minutes as though you're alive. See, that's what a living, intelligent person would do. Well, now that would be overlooking the obvious. That the major reason why we haven't done that as a people is because we are the Negro.
Right.
So that introduces a great difficulty. The dead ain't going to ask nobody nothing.
Right.
Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
See, this is Easter Sunday.
That's right.
So I got to talk about death.
Yes, sir.
Because that's the only way you get to talk about resurrection. See, don't feel bad to find out that you are the Negro, which means that you are the dead.
Come on.
Because if you weren't dead, then you wouldn't be qualified for resurrection.
Right. Right.
All praise is due to Allah. See, that's why God had to come himself. Because you and I are dead.
Yes, sir.
And if he didn't come, then there's no way we could get resurrected.
Go ahead. That's right.
So the Bible says, as the lightning shines from the east unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be.
That's right.
Wheresoever the eagles are gathered together, there also is the carcass.
Right.
In other words, there also is the Negro
Right.
under the American eagle,
Right.
dead as hell.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Being guarded in his tomb
Right.
by the American white man.
Right. Absolutely.
In the Bible, they said they put Roman soldiers there. Well, modern Rome is called America.
Right.
And they got soldiers guarding you all over America.
Right.
You can't walk 15 feet without a policeman looking at you,
Right. That's right.
riding by looking at you.
Right.
Well, where they keep looking at you for? To make sure you're still dead.
Go ahead.
All praise is due to Allah. It's in America's vested interest to keep the Negro dead.
Right. That's right.
And they've been doing a good job.
Good job.
You can't say that they have not been on their job keeping you and me as dead as possible.
Right.
So be glad you're dead. Be happy and rejoice that you are a stinking carcass with rotted flesh. In other words, death brings about a degeneration of all systems.
Right.
You have what is called decomposition,
Right.
disintegration. If a body stays dead long enough, pretty soon it loses all its form.
That's right.
It loses all its shape, loses all of its function, loses all of its structure.
Come on.
You could dissect the dead body and find a heart, but it don't beat.
Right.
You can find kidneys, but they don't function. They don't produce urine. The liver's there. You can find the remains of it. You can find the shriveled up brain. To let you know that once upon a time, this person actually could think.
Right.
But they're not thinking now because this pervasive condition of death has set in and mummified them into a condition of permanent death,
Yes, sir.
from which it seems to be impossible to recover. In the whole history of the world, we don't have any example of a person that was dead that actually came to life, even though the scriptures that we have among all nations in one way or another refer to the resurrection of the dead.
Right.
But yet we don't actually have any example of someone in the past that was dead who was actually resurrected. You say, well, what about Jesus? Well, what about him? Or maybe I should say, which one?
Right. That's right. Which one?
Which Jesus are you talking about? The one that's in the Bible. Okay, which one is in the Bible?
Go ahead, dog.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that only 25% of what is written in the New Testament Bible under the name Jesus actually refers to the historical man who lived 2,000 years ago, and his name really wasn't Jesus. The actual man was named Isa, and he was the son of Joseph and Mary. You say, well, he was the son of God. Well, all of us are.
That's right.
The children of God. Even Jesus himself said, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. So to call you a child of God or a son of God or a daughter of God is only to call you by your right name.
Right. Right.
And it's a great honor to be a child of God.
Yes, sir.
But don't think it's exclusive to you.
That's right.
You ain't the only one.
That's right.
As great as you are, you're not the only one.
Come on, dog.
See, this nation that we have on the earth today, we all got funneled through the father of the righteous, a man from Iraq named Abraham.
Right.
See where they're over there now,
Come on.
bombing with depleted uranium and doing all that devilishment. They're the same people that was creating devilishment over there during the time of Abraham.
Right.
More than 4,600 years ago, Just like you and I got to fight the wicked demons of our day, Abraham had to fight the wicked demons of his day.
That's right. Absolutely.
It was Abraham against Nimrod.
Right.
That's why you having Easter today. And isn't Easter such a big mystery?
Yes, sir.
See, which came first? The Easter egg or the Easter bunny? Ain't that a mystery? But Easter is actually named from Astarte.
Right.
And Astarte has many other names, one of which is Semiramis. She was the wife of Nimrod.
Right.
And Nimrod and his wife set themselves up
Come on.
as gods beside God.
Yes, they did.
Nimrod actually was guilty of the murder of his father
Right.
because he did not want to have to admit that he had a father,
Come on.
like some of you. See, that's part of what's wrong with you. You do not like to admit that you actually have a father. And whether you physically kill your father or not, you kill him mentally, emotionally.
Right.
And you're committing the same crime that Nimrod committed. Because whether you like your father or not, or whether he was a good father or not, nonetheless, that's your father.
Right. Right.
And you are to honor your father and your mother that your days be long.
Come on.
So Nimrod murdered his father. And I said Astarte was his wife, Semiramis was his wife, but she was also his mother. Killed his father, married his mother. And then claimed that he was the son of himself.
Right.
And that's why in the Catholic Church and some of the Christian churches to this day, they worship Mary
Right.
like she's a god.
That's right.
And this is part of the Babylonian mystery religion.
Right.
And it comes down to us today in symbolic form through these different festivals that they hold, like Christmas and Easter.
Right. Come on, Don.
Christmas not being the birthday of Jesus Christ, but it's the birthday of Nimrod.
Right. Right. Suck yourself in.
And Easter has nothing to do with the resurrection of Jesus. Easter has to do with a fertility rite among the pagans from Nimrod's time back in ancient Babylon.
Right. Right. You
So that's why you roll in the Easter eggs and in your Easter bonnet.
Right.
These are fertility rites, fertility ceremonies
Right.
among pagans.
Come on.
So that's what you have to decide today, whether or not you're a pagan. This is what Abraham, your father, had to decide for himself. He had to come to a point of decision. Is he going to be a pagan and worship creation? Or is he going to be a true worshiper of the Creator? See, those are the two choices.
Yes, sir.
Now, it's hard to worship the Creator, who you never see. You see what he created, but you don't see him. And so many people have fallen down to worship the sun because you can see it.
Right.
They point to the sun and say, that's real.
Right. Come on.
Or the moon, that's real. Or the stars, that's real. Or the earth, because it's so real.
Yes, sir.
Or a mountain or a tree. Or sometimes they put together little statues or big statues for that matter. Because if it's a big God, then you got to have a big statue,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you get you a big tree and you chop it up and carve it and turn it into some fearsome looking god.
Right.
Then after you make it up like that, then you bow down and worship what you made. See, that's paganism.
Right.
So you may have to confront your family over the issue of pagan worship. That's what Abraham had to do. His father was a pagan.
Yes, sir.
A big time pagan priest. He was Nimrod's top priest in paganism. And then here his son Abraham comes up in a pagan household and decides he ain't going for this paganism. Because he tried to worship the sun, but then it set. And here come the moon. He tried to worship that, but it set on him. All the stars rose, but then they set. He said, this can't be God. Then one time they were having one of their pagan festivals. You know how people get caught up in pagan festivals. We ran into a traffic jam on the way here because they're having an Easter parade.
Right.
Thousands of people celebrating pagan festivities. So they was having one of those rituals like that back in Abraham's day. Everybody wanted to go to the party. So they needed somebody to guard the temple where all of the pagan idols were. So Abraham volunteered, I ain't going to the party. I don't mind. Y'all go ahead and have a good time. And then while they was out partying, Abraham demolished all of the idols in the temple except the chief one, the big idol. Not because he was scared of that big idol, but he had a plan. So then later, after everybody recovered, you know, they had a hangover for a couple of days. Because a part of their religion was drinking wine.
Yes, sir.
See, Nimrod actually introduced the drinking of wine. Not just as a part of religion, but as a part of life. That would keep the people drunk on the spirit of alcohol so that they forget about the spirit of God.
Yeah.
So when they recovered and went into the temple to worship their idols, they were all broken. And then, of course, suspicion immediately fell on Abraham because he was the one that was supposed to be guarding the temple. So they wanted to know from Abraham who broke the idols. He said, well, I don't know. Why don't you ask him, the big idol? He must have seen the whole thing. Of course, now they didn't think that was funny. And so they decided they was going to boil Abraham in oil, which they did, or they tried to. But he had a God that had power. And he demonstrated his power in his ability to save Abraham from Nimrod and his other enemies.
Right.
So they put him in the boiling oil, but he wouldn't boil.
Right.
In fact, it said that the flames became coolness. And then for the space of about 3 days throughout Babylon, all of the fires became coolness and wouldn't boil water. Well, that was Abraham passing from disbelief to belief, becoming a righteous man who later on would be considered to be the friend of God. See, now that's saying a lot.
Yes, sir.
Suppose God was your friend. Now you got some friends now, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
You ain't too sure about them, right? Matter of fact, you are sure about them. That's why you got my so-called friends. Because you know they ain't really your friends. You can't trust them, can you? And if you get in trouble, you can't count on them, can you? But if God were your friend, now that would be a friend, wouldn't it? Because if you got in trouble, he would not abandon you. If you needed something, you could get it, couldn't you? See, if God were your friend, you wouldn't have to worry about your enemies. Because whatever they tried to do, your friend would be there to back you up and save you. Well, that's why we're so happy. See, anytime you see a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if he's in his right mind and spirit, he's happy.
That's right.
Because the number one fact of our existence after we accept the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is we understand that as we accept these teachings, we are also accepting the friendship of Allah.
Come on. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't you want that?
Yes, sir.
For yourself?
Yes, sir.
It's nice to know that this brother got Allah as his friend. But I want what he got.
Yes, sir.
Said Honorable Elijah Muhammad was personal friends with Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
I mean, up close and real personal.
Right. Right.
That when they was riding in the car, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, would tell his messenger, come over closer, brother.
Right.
Sit close to me.
Yes, sir.
That's close, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
They were inseparable companions.
That's right.
More about that later. See, because in times like this,
Come on.
we need the friendship of Allah.
That's right.
See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad needed the friendship of Allah in order for him to accomplish his mission.
Yes, sir.
So Abraham was tried in many different ways by his friend. And then the greatest trial was he was denied a son.
Come on.
That was the greatest desire of his heart.
Yeah.
But he was denied a son until he was 100 years old. His friend, God promised him that he was going to be the father of nations.
Come on.
But as they would say, he ain't had chick nor child. Until he was 100.
Yeah.
Then he had a son.
Come on.
And then when that son, who was the apple of his eye,
Yeah.
attained the age of 14, then Allah commanded Abraham to make a sacrifice. But not a sheep or a goat. This time, I want you to lay your son on the altar. That's the sacrifice. And then the enemy devil was there and whispered into the ear of Abraham's son, Ishmael, your daddy done gone crazy. He's a religious fanatic.
Yeah.
He thinks God told him to murder you. You better get out now. And Ishmael said to the devil, well, if Allah has commanded my father to sacrifice my life, then I will go to the altar myself and lay down on the altar. And Ishmael told his father, come on, father, and do quickly what God has commanded you to do. See, now that's faith, isn't it? That's faith that has spanned generations. It's the faith of the Father that is unshakable, that is now in the Son. See, that's the whole point. It's not good enough that you or I be men and women of faith, and we're faithful unto ourselves and for ourselves, and we are assured that we are going to be saved. No, the issue is, what about your offspring? See, this idea of individual salvation, see, that's the idea of Satan. Make you think that you can be saved by yourself. Well, you didn't get here by yourself. You got here through family. And you're going to perpetuate yourself into the future with family. That's partly the solution to the question of your death. You're going to die one day. But as you are going down into death, you want to know, what will your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, what will they serve? What will they worship? What will they do? What kind of life will they have? See, that's what's wrong with Negroes. You're not thinking about your children. So you make no provision for your children. You're not thinking about your grandchildren. You're not planning a world for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren to inhabit. You got nerve enough to complain when you're sick that you don't have a doctor to go to. Well, why did you neglect the education of your own children? You sent them off to the devil school. Then pretend like you're shocked when they come back with a bunch of devilishment. The devil don't care nothing about you and taught your children to not care about you. So when you get old and in need, you're looking for your children and your grandchildren. You can't find nobody. They're out drunk somewhere, high somewhere, in the penitentiary somewhere, or a lot of them is dead. See, that's what's wrong with Negroes. They don't have a vision of the future. Negroes are locked into the here and now. They think reality just consists of the present moment. They're ignorant of the past and can't see the future. So therefore, they can't understand God. Because God was, is, and shall be. So if you want to comprehend, the majesty and the reality of God, you can't do it with the mindset of a Negro that's locked into the present moment. You got to understand God past, present, and future. Especially future. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it this way, that you are not even considered to be a believer if you don't believe in the prophecies of the prophets, which means the future. You don't get no credit as a believer unless you can see the future and experience the future as though it were occurring now. So you're living in the now, but with an eye on the future. See, now that might make you look crazy to your contemporaries. Because they see the here and now,
Right.
but they don't see what you see in your mind's eye,
Right.
which is a future that is certain because it was commanded to be out of the mouth of a mighty God. So God told Abraham, I will make you the father of many nations. And Abraham believed it. And in his mind's eye, he could see it. He told Abraham, I will multiply your seed until it is more than the stars of the heaven or the sand of the sea. God said it, Abraham believed it, and Abraham could see it.
Yeah.
But God wanted to know, Abraham, does your seed see it?
Right.
I know you see it. But this son that I blessed you with after 100 years, does he see what you see? Does he believe what you believe? Because my promise to you, Abraham, is so magnificent. It is so great. It is so weighty. It will not be fulfilled in one generation. It will take many generations. But I am God, and I am able to work my will and project my force and my power through time, down through generations. Long after you are dead and gone, Abraham, your seed will be on the earth, and I will be working with your seed just like I worked through you. And so if you are ever to be free, somebody got to come and bust up those ideas that are at the root of your life. So that's why we got to teach so hard against Christmas.
That's right. All right.
That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught his followers to fast during the month of December.
That's right.
Because fasting puts you in a serious state of mind.
Yeah.
So that you begin to analyze what is really going on here, and then you can step back out of the foolish parade that is going on in front of you. Say, I don't want no parts of that. I'm going to stay away from that. And then he told us the truth.
That's right.
About whose birthday it really is.
Go ahead. Memorize.
He said this was not the birthday of any righteous man. As you can see from the behavior on that day. More murders on Christmas.
That's right.
More violence, more stabbing, more drunkenness, more rape, more robbery, more fires, more violence, more automobile accidents, more suicide, more insanity.
That's right.
And anybody that has worked in the medical profession, you don't want to be on call on Christmas or Christmas Eve.
That's right.
Because you're going to be busy that night. But this kind of evil that reaches its maximum during this so-called holiday season could not be in honor of any righteous person.
That's right.
And when we check, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, we will find that we are really deceived into celebrating the birthday of one of the most wicked demons, a human being, but nonetheless a demon.
That's right.
Who ever lived.
That's right.
I mean, worse than Vlad the Impaler, who you know as Dracula.
Yes, sir.
Worse than him.
Wow.
Worse than Attila the Hun.
Go ahead.
Worse than all of these wicked demons. Worse than Hitler. And this evil one's name that was born 600 years before the birth of Jesus.
All right.
In Babylon.
Sir.
His name Nimrod.
That's right.
And he's such an evil figure that they never like to bring his identity out into the open because there is no self-respecting, decent person who would honor a wicked man like Nimrod.
That's right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that Nimrod broke the civilization of Moses.
Right.
That Moses had put the people under a law called the Ten Commandments.
Yes, sir.
He had put these Caucasian devils under a law that would help them to compensate for the wickedness that was in their very nature. Evil is in their very nature. Lying and murder is in their very nature. And so God, in his love and mercy, sent to them Moses as a prophet to teach them a way of righteousness, to give them a strong law of righteousness, to put a board, if you will, on their crooked backbone, to make them stand upright, so that they would not fall down like a serpent in the dust.
Go ahead.
Come on.
But if your nature is to be a serpent, if you by nature are wicked, if you are by nature a liar, by nature a murderer, and then somebody wraps you up in a teaching and a law of righteousness, and you can't express your nature, then you feel frustrated. Come on.
Yes, they did.
You saw that movie that was out last year, Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
You saw it. But that's showing you a picture of the true nature of these people.
Right.
Remember when the man was pleading for his life?
Yes, sir.
Oh, please don't kill me. I got a wife. I got a family. Please don't kill me. Take all the money. Just don't kill me.
Yes, sir.
The guy said, but it just wouldn't be right if we didn't kill him. Boom.
Yes, sir.
It just wouldn't be right. He just couldn't live with himself if he didn't kill him. They got to kill him. Otherwise, he can't rest at night.
Right. Come on.
He couldn't look himself in the face, himself in the mirror, if he didn't kill him. It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, now, you and I are not like that by nature.
No, sir.
Some of us went to see that movie, and so we're trying to act it out, but we're not that way by nature.
That's right. Come on.
But we're dealing with a people who are like that by nature, that if you want to stop them from killing, you got to put them in a straitjacket, and that's exactly what Moses did. He put them in a straitjacket.
All right.
And practically, for any offense against the law of Moses, the penalty was death.
All right.
And that's the only way you could control them and make them look like they was righteous. They are motivated mostly through fear.
That's right.
They don't have a conscience, a moral conscience on the inside that compels them to do what is right.
That's right.
You and I, if we would just listen to that little voice that is speaking from within, that little voice is telling you what is right.
That's right.
It's showing you what is true.
That's right.
It's showing you what is just.
That's right.
But if you were one of those Caucasian people, that little voice that you would be listening to on the inside wouldn't be telling you what was right.
All right.
The little voice would be saying, kill them before they get away. Don't miss your chance, kill them. Steal it, take it. You can get away with it.
All right.
Go ahead.
They're not like you.
Right.
That's why we make a mistake when we look at them as though they're like us. They're not like us.
That's right. That's right.
And you're not like them.
Right.
Right. That's right.
And when you have understanding, you don't want to be like them. Don't misunderstand the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're not condemning white people because they're white. We condemn them because they're evil.
That's right.
It don't make no difference what color they are. They're evil. Their evil can be controlled, but it can only be controlled externally by a strong law. And Nimrod was the first king among them that was born who was able to break the civilization of Moses, which is to say, set up a system in ancient Babylon to allow them to give an outward show of righteousness, but then do evil. And that was the reality. In other words, this common practice in the world today, where you have a day like today is Sunday.
That's right. That's right.
And all the people get pious and sanctimonious, and you see them bowing down in the churches, saying the Mass and doing all of that. But what about Monday? What about Tuesday? What about Wednesday? They show you in their movies like The Godfather, where the Godfather is there at the christening of his little baby in the church saying Mass.
That's right.
Looking so holy and pious.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his boys are out there murdering people.
That's right.
Give the appearance of righteousness.
That's right.
And then Nimrod set up a class of priests. And there's never been anything like that before in the world, where you got a class of people who are considered to be intercessors between the people and God.
All right.
So you go to the priest and you confess your sin to the priest.
Right.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. He ain't nothing but a man like you.
That's right.
What you confessing your sins to that man? He can't forgive your sins.
That's right.
Only God can forgive your sins. And so true confession has to be direct between the person and God.
Okay.
Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
But Nimrod set up this system. You go to the priest. And the priest says, well, if you give us a certain amount of money and light 50 candles and kiss the feet of the statue, then all those sins will be absolved. And so, in other words, there's a nice, neat little system. You can go out and do a dollar sin. Come in and say, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. He said, that'll be $1.
Right.
But then the next day, you can go out and do a $10 sin. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Well, that'll be $10 for that one. Then you can go out and do something real evil. See, the bigger the crime, then the more the priest gets. So he ain't really interested in reforming you. He's saying the way this fool going, he gonna go out and rob a bank next. I'm gonna charge him $1,000 for that. They set that kind of system up. You got preachers all over LA that'll pray for you. All you got to do is put $50 in an envelope and send it on up to the prayer balcony. And old Reverend Chickenfoot will pray for you. But where did that kind of teaching come from? That's Nimrod. This religious hypocrisy, where religion becomes something you do one day a week for about an hour. And the people sitting in the congregation timing the preacher. Hurry up now. We got some wickedness to attend to. We can't sit down and look. Nimrod showed the people how they could make money off of money.
Right.
Call it interest. Call it debt, or call it usury. See, that's why you, what do you call it? When you take a cow and you rope that cow by the neck and the cowboy jumps off and ties up his legs like that. What do you call that? Bulldog. What do you call it? Hog tie. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
That's why you hog tie. Because Nimrod showed these wicked demons how to set up an economy like that. And so the more that you participate in this kind of economy, the deeper and deeper in the debt that you go, and eventually you're in so much debt that they can actually take you into slavery.
That's right.
Why do you think the government is shut down?
That's right.
Where's Nimrod's boys working?
That's
That's right.
right.
Where's this book? Go ahead.
Come on with me.
There's a magazine. You ought to pick up a copy of this. It's called The International Economy. Then in small print it says the magazine of the G7 Council. The G7 Council, this represents the 7 richest countries in the world. Japan and England and France and Germany and the U.S. There's 7 of them all together, and they are the ones who pull the financial strings. They control the economy of the world. And this is the magazine that they put out to express their viewpoint. And when you open it up, on page 8, they got a picture of Minister Farrakhan.
Where?
All right.
Right there.
Look at that.
What does it say, brother?
Yeah.
And under the picture it says Farrakhan. A coincidence or what?
Yeah.
Then it has a quote.
What does it say, brother?
It says 4 things were set up in the year 1913.
That's right.
The Federal Reserve Bank,
That's right.
the IRS, the FBI,
Yes, it was.
and the Anti-Defamation
That's
League
right.
of B'nai B'rith.
Right.
All were set up in the same year. Is that a coincidence or is there a tie-in? And it says Louis Farrakhan in a February 26,
That's right.
1995 speech.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, the Muslims know what February the 26th is. That's the birthday of Master Farad Muhammad. Let's sing the thing. And we recognize that statement. That is what Minister Farrakhan said on February the 26th, 1995, when he's the most important point of his Savior's Day address was attacking the international bankers, the international finance system.
Jesus saved.
That's right.
That's right.
See this subheading here, a coincidence or what? What's the coincidence? The coincidence is that while Minister Farrakhan was speaking against the evils of the international bankers in Chicago on February 26, 1995, at the exact same moment,
Come on now.
in London, England, the announcement went out about the collapse of the oldest international bank in England, the Baring Brothers Bank.
Right.
Okay, you didn't hear what I said.
Yes,
I said at the exact same moment
sir.
that Allah's servant in our midst
Yes, sir.
was speaking against the evils of the international banking system, the oldest and the biggest international bank in England collapsed at that very moment. Is that a coincidence or what?
Go ahead. Come on.
What is the tie-in? Minister Farrakhan says. Well, the tie-in is that the evil of this international banking system is the evil of Nimrod.
That's right.
See, it's something incestuous about making money off of money. I lend you money, and then you got to pay it back plus interest. See, I'm making money off of money. I give you $100, but you got to give me 110 back. That's usury. That's incestuous.
That's right.
That's an evil
Yes, sir.
that is condemned by every prophet and condemned by God himself.
That's right.
But it's an evil that Nimrod made fair seem.
That's right.
And is the basis of the world system of finance today.
That's right.
But where did he get this incestuous line of thinking?
Come on.
It is because Nimrod was so wicked and so vain in his wickedness
Yes, sir.
that he did not want to give credit to anyone for being the great man that he thought he was, even to the point of not wanting to even give credit to his own father who sired him. But he wanted the people to believe that he was the father of himself.
All right.
Go ahead.
Come on.
Listen.
So he murdered his father.
That's right. Listen.
Well, so did Marvin Gaye's father. Murdered the son.
That's right.
That's it.
So sometimes fathers murder sons and sons murder fathers. But Nimrod took it to another level.
Come on.
He married his mother.
That's right.
That's right. He did.
That's right.
Now that's evil.
Yes, sir.
And his mother was evil because she went along with it.
That's right. Yes, she was.
Now that's who you worshiping
Come on with
Come on.
teachers.
on December the 25th. That's where the incestuous idea of usury comes from. In other words, the idea that if you're big enough and you're bad enough, you can do anything that you want to.
Right, right.
And if you got enough power, you can get away with anything, even murdering your father. And then his mother went to the people and upheld this mythology.
Right, right.
Right.
After Nimrod's death. And she invented the myth
All right, come on.
of the Holy Ghost.
What?
In other words, ex-daddy out completely.
That's right.
That's right.
Say it wasn't no physical daddy at all.
That's right.
But somehow there was a Holy Spirit. And of course, Nimrod's mother, a woman named Semiramis, she portrayed herself as some holy woman.
That's right.
But the Holy Spirit had impregnated and gave birth to a son who was the mighty Nimrod.
That's right.
And Nimrod conquered the other nations and set up the ancient kingdom of Babylon in the city of Babel.
Come on. Right.
All right.
Break it right now.
And he broke the religious law of Moses
That's right.
and broke every other law that he could think of.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And set up a system of evil that has been passed down to the present generation.
That's right.
So that's why when you are celebrating Christmas, they present to you the story of some woman who they say is a virgin,
All right.
who was impregnated by the Holy Spirit and gave birth to a son who was to rule the nations with a rod of iron. And you think they're talking about Jesus, but they're talking about Nimrod.
All right. Jesus.
Don't have nothing to do with Jesus at all.
That's
Right.
right.
Sir.
See, this is very, very significant.
All right. Come on.
See, I wrote the editor to this magazine when I saw this. And in words, I said, that's not the question. A coincidence or what? I borrowed something from Brother Jabril. Said the real question is, who backs Farrakhan
That's right.
and with what?
Right.
Good question. Good question.
Go ahead. What you talking about, a coincidence? That God man stands on a platform in front of the world and you think that you are going to mock him?
Right.
That's right.
No, his God is with him.
That's right.
And it's not some weak God. That is just for Negroes.
That's right.
And back alley Negroes at that. Now this is a mighty God.
That's right.
And Minister Farrakhan was speaking on this mighty God's birthday,
Yeah.
February the 26th.
That's
Right.
And Master Farad Muhammad, who was born on that day, said that when he was 6 years old, he had a dream that he was throwing big devils like Rockefeller into a lake of fire.
That's right.
Well, when you
That's right.
attack the international international financial system. That's exactly what that is. You're throwing big devils into a lake of fire. Allah showed you and me that he is with Minister Farrakhan to throw all of these damnable devils into a lake of fire and burn their economic system up. I showed them what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put on the front page of Muhammad Speaks in 1968. Daniel's vision, an image of gold and silver. And it was recently reprinted in the final call the week after Savior's Day.
That's right.
An image that had a head of gold, a breastplate of silver, all of it standing on feet of mixed clay and iron. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this was the vision that God showed Daniel in Babylon, where Nimrod ruled. That this great image would be erected with a golden head and a breast of silver. The golden head representing America and her power of the gold standard. And the breastplate of silver representing England and her British sterling.
Go ahead.
And this is a picture of the world financial system controlled by England and America, where they have sucked all of the wealth out of the world and taken it and hoarded it to themselves through usury, through trickery, through thievery, through looting, through murder, through enslavement of the masses of the people that are represented by the miry clay mixed with iron. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this vision that was given to Daniel is a picture of today's world order. And it's a picture of revolution. Because there's no way that such a heavy head of gold and a heavy breast of silver can be supported by the masses of the people who are poor. And this incites revolution all over the world. And revolution is what we see all over the world. And that's what's wrong with you. See, you're a revolutionary because you really can't stand it anymore.
That's right.
That the rich are getting richer and the poor is getting poor. That they're cutting back on everything to support their head of gold and their breast of silver. And they're cutting you back so far now that you're losing the balance of your mind.
Go ahead.
And you're desperate today. And in your desperation, you're willing almost to do anything to get what you think is justice or to get what you think is some temporary wealth. You'd rather have a little wealth, even if it's only for 6 months, than to live your whole life in poverty.
Go ahead.
But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad completed the interpretation of Daniel's vision because he said that God cut out a stone without hands and hurled it at the image of gold and silver. And the stone smote the image and broke it into pieces until it was no more. And then this little stone that smote the image, it grew until it filled up the entire world. But who do you think that little stone might be?
Come on.
Huh?
Minister.
The stone is referring to a man.
That's right.
And he gets hurled by God at an image of gold and silver. So that's what we were watching February the 26th, 1995. A little man from the midst of us might not look like much to you. But in the hands of God, he's everything. And he's hurled at the image of gold and silver that looks so powerful that it could rule the world, but yet he smites the image and breaks it into pieces. And you read about it in the papers the next day. I hope you're following what I'm saying. But we're talking about Christmas.
Yes, sir.
See, we're talking about Christmas, but you got to ask the question, Which Christmas?
Right.
Or whose Christmas? Come on. Which Jesus? Or whose Jesus?
Go ahead.
We ain't got no problem with Jesus
Right.
if it's the right Jesus.
Right.
Don't give us no bogus Jesus in a red suit.
Right. That's right.
Talk about coincidences.
Yes, sir.
Is it a coincidence that Satan wears a red suit and Santa Claus got a red suit on too?
Bring it out.
Break it up.
We ain't got no blackboard here, but
Yes, sir.
no, that's all right. You know how to spell Santa, don't you?
Yes, sir.
S-A-N-T-A. Yeah, these words, you just drop the vowels out. You have S-N-T.
That's right.
And you unscramble the letters. And then put the vowels back. You have Satan.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And he got claws. He needs those claws to drag all that he can into hell with him.
Go ahead.
Are you going?
No, sir.
See, you're going if you can't recognize him.
Come on now. Teach.
See, the Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee from you.
What it say?
See, these people don't try to sell the Muslims no Christmas presents.
No.
They see us coming, they don't want us in the store. Because we might start talking about what's really going on. And break the Christmas spirit. Did I ruin your Christmas?
No, sir.
I hope I did.